Big O, we told you we ain't playing no games, man. It's just surely probably Pablo, Culture, Lord Productions.
Good morning, South Florida.
This is the Big O Show.
You're tuned into the Big O Show.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. Judge, you tuned in to the hottest sports radio show with Orlando, a.k.a. the Big O. He covers all the South Florida teams, from the Dolphins to the Heat, well, you know what I mean. Monday to Friday, Probably Pablo in the Big O Show. O's on the radio, the top's where we gonna go. Miami, that's the way we roll. Locked on the morning show, we go. No one has a similar show. Talk sports, talk plays, talk live and direct. Because nobody do it better than Big O in the set. From sunrise, listen live, it's the best of the best. He's got the fans, got the heat, he's the best of the best. Big O, the only talking sports with a style. Breaking them on in, it's Big O-N. Thank you for tuning in, keeping you glued in. Stay tuned, because right here's where the rumors in. Same place, because right here some of them begin. Simply call and just state your opinion. Real talk, sports talks, the Big O Show. Yeah, you love it, yeah, you like it, call him and let him know. Coach and Probably Pablo, now introducing the man of the hour, Big O, a.k.a. Orlando Gary. Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. It's a Friday. We made it. The Marlins are 6-1. Life is good. Reality set in the Milwaukee Bucks game last night. But, you know, overall, we got to be happy with the result yesterday. Not the Heat one, but I'm talking about the Marlins. They were amazing again yesterday. It's a lot of fun, man. I got to say, it's a whole bunch of fun. I had this sourpuss on Facebook. You know, because I'm like, when they went up 4-3 yesterday, and I was like, the marvelous Marlins strike again, you know, having fun with this. Some guy's like, hey, slow your roll. They're beating the Orioles. I'm like, dude, you know, relax. Nobody's saying that they're going to the playoffs or the World Series or whatever. I'm just having fun. I'm just enjoying the moment. You know, nobody expected, including myself, much from the Marlins. I just wanted development. That's all this year was about, you know what I mean? And so for us to get all of the, you know, crap going on with COVID and how it affected the Marlins and it ravaged their locker room, and then they were set like some kind of a example for the entire league when it's really a pandemic and it's going to happen to other teams. And sure enough, it already happened to St. Louis. Oh, yeah, that's a better way to do it. So anyway, I lived in Rome back in the day. I know how to make air conditioning out of aqueducts. Well, that's pretty good. Anyway, so it was fun, and that's all I'm doing is having fun with this. I don't know where it goes. It's not really supposed to go anywhere, right? I mean, that's kind of what it is. It's one of those things that, you know, this is a team that's really, really young. It's full of players that weren't supposed to be even on this team, and they're still finding ways to win. And it is amazing yesterday, and they outlast the Orioles 8-7. And it was one of those games where it went back and forth. But man, every time they needed a hit, they got it. The only thing I will say that I was disappointed about yesterday is the Yamamoto kid. That, you know, he came in the Yelich deal, and I have not been impressed so far with the little that I've seen from Yamamoto. I can't say that I'm sitting there going, wow, this kid's just absolutely amazing. He's not. That's the one thing that I will say. Not impressed with Yamamoto. It just, his ball didn't have a lot of movement overall. That's kind of what stood out to me. I don't know how you guys saw it. But, again, just to, you know, Brian Anderson, Kinsler picks up his third save, Cervelli coming up with big hits, Villar hits the home run. I mean, it just on and on. Oh, and the base running yesterday. There were several examples, but again, if you're going to not beat yourself and you're going to run the bases intelligently, okay, speaking of Cervelli, there was one play where he was super smart with an aggressive turn on second, and when he bobbled the ball, Cervelli took off, and he was in third and setting himself up to score. And they did a couple of times where they had, they were aggressive, but they were smart in their base running, and that's again, you got to love it. I mean, look. I'm not saying the Marlins are the greatest. I'm not saying they're winning the division. I'm not saying they're even going to the playoffs or maybe even getting a wild card. But you know what? I'm going to enjoy what's going on right now. They're 6-1. That's my team. Finally we got rid of that piece of crap Loria. And, we don't know if Jeter and Sherman really have the money in the end to keep some of these guys if they ever develop any real stars. I guess we're going to find out with time, but I'm willing to give them an opportunity. They're trying, and you know what's going on with the Marlins, and this is it's just as fair to say with the Marlins as it is with the Dolphins. They're establishing a culture, right? That's kind of what they're doing right now. They've got solid veteran professionals that come in to set an example, right? People that play the game the right way, the older players that they have in there. And then the young guys are learning from those kind of individuals in that process. And now you're fighting all this kind of adversity. And Mike Hill now, remember, Mike Hill and Chris Greer are kind of the same now. They've never really been in charge because they've had people hovering around them and over them that would make other decisions. So now Mike Hill has the whole show to himself, and he has an opportunity to kind of prove what he can do. And to his credit, he got hit by COVID. Now he had to go find guys and call up guys, and so far they've done, a decent job. And listen, I got to tell you something. When it comes to the Marlins, this crap about, they just beat the Orioles. Don't do that to the Marlins, dude. That's not. If they're the Yankees and they're the Washington Nationals and they're the Dodgers and they beat the Orioles, okay, they beat the Orioles. It's not a big deal. But for the Marlins, anyone they beat is a big deal. Any series they win is a big deal. Any series they sweep is amazing. And when they sweep a 4-game set along with a doubleheader, that's freaking fantastic. Okay? So it's completely unfair to take any credit away from the Marlins for any accomplishment. Monte Harrison yesterday, balls out, running into the wall. That's how you're supposed to play the game. Not that everybody has the guts to play the game that way, but the young man did his best, sold out for his team to try to get to that ball, and he couldn't. Okay? And credit to him, and he got shaken up a little bit. He stayed in the game and everything, and you got to love that. And for me, you got to enjoy what's going on with this team. That's just the way I'm going to do it. I'm just going to ride. Look, this year for me was about development. I was already into the season. I was already into giving Jeter and company a shot. We were at Marlins Fan Fest. I mean, before COVID hit, we were going to be at a couple spring training games broadcasting out there. We had it all set up. I love this new Marlins group. They're actually connecting with the media. It's really cool. They actually want a relationship. They want to promote their sport. So if they're willing to meet us halfway, hell yeah, I'm going to meet you more than halfway. You know what I mean? So I was already into the season, and I was going to watch them and just hope for development. That's all. That's all I was asking for. That's it. I said my target was 70, 75 games this year. It wasn't about 500. It wasn't about a playoff spot. It wasn't about anything like that. I just wanted some development and improvement from last year. No, let's not lose 100 games. Let's start getting into the 70s, start making some progress. Guys grow. There's a lot of pitching arms in that organization. I'm dying to see them come up because, as you all know, I'm not breaking any news to any of you all. If you can pitch, dude, you're going to put yourself in a lot of games. And one of the things the Marlins, like I just said, they're not beating themselves either. So they're not going out there making a whole bunch of errors and throwing to the wrong base and not throwing off to the cutoff man, and they're not running the bases in a stupid fashion and getting caught for no reason. And fundamentally, they're giving themselves a chance to win, which is really nice. So if you can pitch and you can be fundamentally sound, you're going to be in a lot of games this year. And again, this is just such a short window that freakish things can happen, right? And right now, the Marlins are allowing themselves to be a part of that freakish nature at 6-1. So, hey, maybe they lose the next 6. Maybe they win the next 6. I don't care, man. I mean, of course I care. I want them to win and not lose it. But my point is, just enjoy the ride, okay? Appreciate the moments. Even when Monte Harrison doesn't make the catch, appreciate that he's wired the right way, that he's playing the game the right way, that he's hungry. You know what I mean? Even Lewis Brinson, I'm rooting for. You know why? It's what we talked about the other day when somebody was slamming Deion Jordan. And I say, hey, you know what? Deion Jordan sucked for us. It was a terrible thing, right? But it's not like I want the guy to end up in a crack pipe in an alley somewhere. No, man, I don't want that. The guy has addiction issues. I hope he beats them. And guess what? It looks like he's beating them because he's found a way to actually become a serviceable football player the last couple of years. God bless him for that, man. It's better than him ending up with addictions. I know it sucked for us as Dolphins, but I can't say to the guy, look, Deion Jordan was irresponsible and had addictions. He wasn't murdering people and raping people and holding up banks, or he wasn't really doing criminally things like that. So he wasn't hitting women. I can root against that kind of guy. Okay? But a person like this, hey, I root for him because after all of this, he never gave up and he kept coming back and kept coming. Look, Johnny Manziel, he's got money in the bank. He gave up, never tried. Well, Deion Jordan, it was either, hey, do I end up, in the gutter somewhere, or do I try to make something out of my life? Because the Lord actually blessed me with some talent. Let me go do something. And he's made himself a serviceable football player. Lewis Brinson has not given up. He's been a bust. The local kid, we were hoping he'd come back, do good, all that. He's been terrible. Kid is still focused on trying to succeed. He's not giving up. I admire the crap out of that. I have a saying I've said for a long time, about 20 years, and that failure, that success is fed off of failure. And I believe that wholeheartedly. When Michael Jordan got cut from his junior varsity team, he could quit right there and say, well, maybe I'm not good enough. I'm done. Let me go start painting. Let me go to baseball. Let me go do something else. Let me become a computer engineer. No, he stuck with it and became the greatest basketball player of all time. Because it takes some failure. I was the Go-Go's documentary. I'm not going to give you any spoilers if you haven't seen it on Showtime. But after they had success with one song, okay, We Got the Beat, that became like a single, their manager went to all the record companies, and all the record companies turned them down. Yeah, it's a cute song. It's great, but, we don't think all girls groups work. And then Island Records was like, Records was like, no, we'll take a chance. And boom, the rest is history. So I've always said that success is fed off of failure. That's always been one of my sayings. And that's what's gone on with Deion Jordan. He hasn't been first round successful, but he finally found a way to be a productive player in the league, productive enough that teams want you on their football team, and they want to use you as part of their rotation. I'm praying for Louis Brinson the same way. I admire the kid because he's feeding off the failure. And we're all going to fail. We're all going to have setbacks. What do you do when you have that setback? How do you answer that setback? You know what I mean? Do you give into it or do you fight it? And guys, like, that's why I'm looking for development this year from the Marlins. We're getting winning, you know what I mean, which is great. And guys like, Monte Harrison, new kids getting their opportunity, fresh faces. This is fun. Brian Anderson, I admire the crap out of Brian. He's my favorite Marlin. He's the guy he's just a pro's pro. I love watching that guy play. He plays the game the right way. If I had a son, I would say, you see that guy Brian Anderson right there? He's not the best player in the majors, but he plays the game like the best players in the majors should play. He plays the game the way every baseball player at any level should play the game. Check it out, son. Watch that guy. That guy plays it the right way. Love watching Brian Anderson play. And he doesn't have to be Mike Trout, and he'll never be Mike Trout. And I get that he's not a freak like Mike Trout. But the fact that he's a pro's pro, I love it. I can watch Brian Anderson play every single day. Okay? Am I enamored by his at-bat like I would be when Giancarlo Stanton was coming up, when Miguel Cabrera was coming up, when Gary Sheffield was at the plate? No. It's a different experience. I'm not trying to compare it. But I do admire professionalism. I do admire people that set the right example. I do admire people that bring the right character to the game all the time. Brian Anderson's that guy. So when I see him, he's been kicking ass the last couple of days with key plays every day. A lot of fun, man. A lot of fun. Get on board. Enjoy the Marlins. It's been a really, really nice ride with all the adversity and everything. It's become a great story. And, they've got the best record in the majors. They're in first place in the division. So, it's a beautiful thing, man. Winning percentage at 6-1. We'll take it. We'll take it. So tonight, Sandy Alcantara we get tonight. That's freaking awesome, dude. I love that we get Sandy tonight. Michael Waka, he's a little up and down. So there we go. And then Saturday, it's Caleb Smith and David Peterson. And then on Sunday, Pablo Lopez, who pitched really well the other night against Jacob deGrom. So it's baseball. Right now, the Marlins, and the Marlins can keep people a little bit off balance right now because there's not a lot of books on these guys. They've got to learn what their strengths and weaknesses are. So it's going to take a couple of go-rounds. And because it's a 60-game schedule, doesn't give you a large sample size. So a hot start will really help you out. And right now, the Marlins have put themselves in that position, man. Good stuff. Love it. All right, 786-322-1105 if you want to get in on the text line. That's 786-322-1105. The great Doug E. Fresh chiming in with a super chat. Oh, let's engage in some quid pro quo. When you get to subscriber benchmarks, we get a little something. 3K Culture Club shirt and so on. Okay. I got no problem with that. I don't know what we got to do for 4,000, but we'll come up with something. Okay, for sure. Why not? Might be cool if it's something that we can put on social media too. Something the only thing is I don't want to do something that's going to get me in trouble. That I can't do. Okay? So, because I know you guys may come up with some crazy ass stuff that you would never do, but you want my ass to do it. And, take it easy now. I'm 53, and I've done a pretty good job of, avoiding any serious trouble because I kind of just, enjoy my life. I don't go crazy, and so I'd like to keep it that way. You know what I'm saying?
No backflips 10 feet away from the pool.
No, none of that.
No Manziel maneuvers.
No Manziel maneuvers. No, I have a wife and a daughter. I'd like to be around for them for a little while more. Let's check in. Julius 305 is the first to check in today. Thank you, Julius 305. The Raging Dolphin Maniac is in, saying good morning. Ian from Brooklyn saying, yo, I'm here. Tommy and Hialeah about them Marlins. Mark McIntyre is in. Call of Duty 1. David Pridham says, read the chapter in the new Shula book where the author deals with dance between Trump and Shula in 83 and how DT talked out of turn to media about Shula being a done deal with the Jersey Generals. All right. We will check it out. Thank you. Jean-Luc, what's up, y'all? Happy Friday, he says. Ray Grulon is in the house. Troy Ortiz, Gus 1388. Lewis Bryan in the ATL is checking in. He says, can you tell my boss to stop harshing my mellow, please? Okay. All right, so he's harshing my mellow. Well, that's not good, Lewis. He can't be messing with your mellow, dude. Matthew Walker's in the house. Pat in Asheville. The Go-Go's documentary was fantastic. I agree, Pat. It was awesome. I saw it twice over the weekend. Who knows? Maybe I'll watch it one more time this weekend. What the heck? Have you finally watched it all yet, Bill?
Nope.
You suck. All right, next up is Flipside Fishing.
I have sports to watch, bro.
Yeah, you suck. Miami Kid Jay is in the house. Ian says, Big O just made an appointment at Murias Dental for next week. I will make to sing your praises. I got your back. Thank you, Ian. Appreciate you. And you're going to love the experience at Murias Dental, man. They're really good people, bro. They are just phenomenal. They're a family. It's the atmosphere is comfortable. Like you walk in, super clean, state of the art, so damn polite. You know what I mean? I love it. I love it. It's just awesome. Like once you open the door and you walk in, it's like a different world. You got the hustle and bustle outside, and then you walk in and it's just like calm and soothing, and they're really good people, and it's just it's a good place, man. So Ian, I'm glad you called them. Thank you for telling them about us, because a lot of you out there, you use our sponsors sometimes, and it's been happening to me for 30 years. And you kind of take it for granted, or it's not really your thing. It's not your responsibility, really. When you say my name, it's a little extra that you're remembering. You're just supposed to come here to Craig's Inn and just buy or lease your car and leave. When you say, hey, I forgot to tell you, I heard this on Big O's show. That's a little extra, and you got to remember it. And at the moment, you're not remembering when you walk into VSS West Pines, or if you go to Canesware, that kind of stuff. You just kind of forget to mention to them, hey, by the way, I want you to know I heard it on Big O's show. So thank you very much, Ian, and all of you out there. In fact, the last month, we had a couple of our listeners that purchased cars over at Toyota of Hollywood. We had one here last month, actually, so thank you. It was a lease here last month. So thank you. It's really, really, it's imperative that you guys mention our name, because that makes an enormous impact, as always. So thank you, Ian. Anyway, a lot of things to talk about. Of course, you can always reach out to us on the text line, and that's 786-322 1105. That's 786-322-1105. Let me see what we got here on the text line. It says, Big O, good afternoon. I don't know if you know this qualifies as sports, but Tiger is 1 under after 14 holes at the PGA Championship. You're coming in clear here in the DR. Bill, Strong, James, good job, O. Thank you. Appreciate it. I don't push golf a lot because it just doesn't drive. You know what I mean? And I would imagine you were sending that yesterday when everything else was going on. But yeah, it's, if Tiger can win, obviously this will be one hell of a story this weekend. But it just golf carries in sports talk when they have storylines. You know what I mean? And so we'll see if Tiger does something this weekend, which will then have a storyline for Monday. But it's got to be something controversial, or it's got to be something incredible to kind of get it going. But I get what you're saying. Big O, I have a 9-year-old autistic son. There's no way in God's green earth he's going to be in a classroom this year, virtual learning only. Love the show. He also has asthma. No way he's going to school, which, again, I don't blame you. Giannis and the Bucks want part of Bam and Butler in the playoffs. Miami too physical for them. Well, they weren't yesterday. That might have been sent before the game yesterday. And let's get into it a little bit. In fact, you know what? Let's do this. Let's take a break. Okay. So we'll go on. We'll get a break on time. We'll shock Bill here, and we're out here at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines, like we are every Friday, like we've been out here for 10 years now. At Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. So come on out here, man. They're always willing to make you a deal at 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. RDX 289, MDX 319, TLX 239, ILX 199, only $29.99 do it signing, plus tax tag and registration. Got a beautiful NSX in here in the lobby. If you haven't seen, look, whether you want to buy or lease a car, come on out here and check it out. But if you just want to see an NSX up close, come on by to the showroom, okay? That thing is just absolutely amazing. Anyway, come on out here, tell them that Big O sent you. They will take care of you, of course, at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021. At Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
We're back. And welcome back. Yesterday, the Bucks pulled away from the Heat. The Heat had a 73-56 halftime lead, and it looked pretty good. They were shooting, I don't know what they hit, 13, 14, 15 threes at halftime, some crazy-ass number. 13. All right, they hit some crazy-ass number in the half, and they were shooting lights out, and then Giannis and company took over in the second half and just kind of ran them off the court 74-43. Giannis put on a show. Bam was helpless. You know, like Bam's an all-star, right? Like an entry-level all-star right now, right? And now you see what a superstar looks like, right? In Antetokounmpo, and look, I'm not going to also be blind by the fact that they didn't have Butler and Goran, which really, that leadership, that experience, Butler would have helped out a lot with his leadership and defense and intensity. I think he would have maybe helped out the team a lot. Goran could have been there to hit some big baskets to kind of help keep them in the game. So it might be a little different. So, you know, it is what it is in that one. And I got to tell you, I know Milwaukee ended up clinching officially the number one spot with the win yesterday. I didn't think remember, because they were resting in the Nets game. And I'm wondering, okay, so are they going to play a little more all out? And maybe Milwaukee wanted to send a message before the playoffs started, like, hey, look, we know what went on in the first two games, but we want to remind you what's coming your way when the playoffs start. And look, here's the thing. This is why, remember, we've talked about this already on the show, that people are giving this young Heat team a reputation they haven't earned. You know, and it's, you know, this Heat team's always in great shape, and they always play great defense. And since when? Yeah, they're always in great shape. That's a perennial thing for any Heat team, okay, except the team that came back to defend the title in 07. But anyway, outside of that, they're usually in amazing shape every single year. I get that. Conditioning is conditioning, but since when is this a great defensive team? Like, I hear people say that, and it's like, no, that's the history. You know, and so a lot of people were giving this young Heat team praise from players of the past, teams of the past. And so what happens in the playoffs, 99.999% of the time, is that youth gets their ass kicked in the playoffs. Okay, experience wins in the playoffs. And the Heat have very little playoff experience. They've got a couple of veteran guys. They've got some playoff experience. But all their young guys are babies. They don't know what it's like. They've never taken that playoff step. They've never experienced the intensity of the playoffs. It's a whole different ballgame. And then they're also going to be asked to become the studs in those playoffs. That's not a role that they're normal with. It's not usual for them. It's not something that comes second nature yet to them. It will down the line. But you saw a lot of that yesterday, that when, you know, push came to shove and all of a sudden Giannis started to play like, you know, the superstar, and Middleton started to play like that borderline all-star that he is, everything started to change. And the complexion of that game changed, and it's not even the playoffs. So that's why I'm trying to kind of prepare you, you know, because you got these folks that are kind of wiring you and telling you that the Heat is great. And no, they've had a great season for a young team. They've already overachieved by getting to the 4th seed. Okay, let's get that straight already. They have overachieved. But to think or expect a deep playoff run when they have no experience in the playoffs as a team, it's not really fair. And you're then creating expectations that they can't meet, and you're going to get pissed off at them because you had unrealistic expectations. You know what I'm saying? It just happens in the NBA playoffs. Michael Jordan got his ass kicked all the time. It's a rite of passage, man. You know, the Pistons got beat down by the Celtics until they figured it out. And the Pistons beat down the Bulls until they figured it out. And that's how it is. And LeBron got his ass kicked until he figured it out. And it took him several years in different teams and needed the right people and then needed the right moment. It was like that Boston game 6, kind of was that threshold that LeBron crossed, and then finally became that guy that doesn't shrink anymore in those moments. All of that stuff. It's a rite of passage, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't happen overnight. Yesterday, Bam, with all the improvement that Bam has made, he went up against Giannis yesterday and was like, okay, I got to improve even more. Okay? Because now he sees, okay, I took that next step, but no, I'm not there yet. Do I want to get there? Because that guy just kicked my ass. I mean, he put him in foul trouble. He frustrated him. Giannis undressed that whole team yesterday. But that's a superstar. And that's an experienced player. He's been through the playoffs. He's been deep into the playoffs. You know, this is a guy that he's got it already. The Heat doesn't have it yet. And you got a little flash of why they don't have it yet. They have a lot going for them, but they're not there yet. And eventually they'll get there. But you got to give them time. You know what I mean? Again, it's enjoy the ride. The development has been fast-forwarded because Duncan has been so phenomenal. Kendrick Nunn still hasn't played well yet, so far. But he's had one hell of a year. Bam Adebayo has been a godsend. Tyler Hero has had a solid year too. There's a lot of things to be positive about, a lot of things to feel good about. So let's just take it easy. Don't take the loss yesterday too hard. It was more about reality than anything else. And I think that this round in the playoffs is going to be a lot of fun for the Heat because the experience is the priceless part about it. That's the part that I hate for the Marlins, that their minor leaguers didn't get their 100 and some odd games, and that their major leaguers didn't get 162 games. Because they needed that for developmental purposes. That's what this season was about for them, and now they get the 60 game tournament, basically. Because I don't even call it a baseball season. I'm not even going to call it the playoffs. I'm going to call this a baseball tournament is what they're doing because 2 months of baseball it's just not baseball. I'm sorry. 7-inning doubleheaders, that's just not baseball. It's not. But it is what it is, and unfortunately they don't get that development. But that's what's key in these seasons. It's can the Dolphins get 16 games in for all their young players? Can college football get in a season? Now we'll get to the news with Rousseau. But, all of these things are so damaging for some of our teams locally because, the Heat needed this season and then needs the playoffs for this young core, right? The Marlins needed an entire season for development. The Dolphins need the 16 games because they're in the middle of all of their guys. I would mention the Panthers, but those guys are already veterans. They've already had several seasons of trying to prove it. They're done proving. They are what they are already. That's done, unfortunately. That's been taken out of the oven, and they already had a couple slices off the cake. It's already getting stale, and you're going to have to probably throw it away when it comes to the Panthers. Oh, by the way, they take the ice in 18 minutes, the Panthers. The Islanders are favored by 1.5 goals. Islanders minus 125, Panthers plus 105. Do they tie today, Bill, or do they lose? What do you think happens?
I'm gonna hope that they win, man,
Well,
so
of
we at
course.
least get to a game 5. But
Well,
I give them a chance. I mean, the fact that they got a W.
No fence straddling. Do they win or do they lose?
I'm gonna say that they lose.
Yeah.
Because that's what. I think they got a fighter's chance because
Of course.
winning a game against the Islanders finally should give you confidence, man.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
You should feel good. Like, hey,
No, they got a shot.
we got nothing to do. Like, let's go out here and play like we did the last game.
Yeah. No, they got a shot.
And a lot of it has to do, obviously.
I expect them to lose, but they of course, they got a
Look,
shot. Yeah.
if Bob can play like he did the game 1 and game 3, and we could play some semblance of defense and understand what's going on at the time in the game. That first game, man, when there's 3 minutes left in the game, it's like they had no idea. You would have thought that they thought the score was tied. You know what I mean? The way they sat back and you don't want to expose yourself and give up a goal. No, bro, you need to go get one, man.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
No, I'm with you.
You know?
I'm with you.
And we got the coach. I hope he gets, wires these guys. You know what I mean? Like, hey, urgency, guys. Got to play with urgency today.
Let's hope so. Noon. Let's hope so. Gus 1388 says, tweeted you a story about a high schooler in Georgia suspended for posting pictures of crowded school hallway. Yes, I saw that because the school says she violated 3 rules, which but legally she only violated 1 rule. She didn't violate all 3 rules, and they suspended her. And thank you, Gus 1388 for the article. And it's a Georgia student. And this is how the story goes. The picture went viral, and it was all over the place. It was a Georgia high school, and you were seeing a lot of kids without masks, right? And so Hannah Waters, a student at North Paulding High School in Dallas, Georgia, saw a photo of packed halls on the first day of school go viral. When she saw that little had changed after that, she told CNN's Laura Coates on Thursday she felt that she had to share what it looked like inside the school, so she took a photo of the scene and posted on social media. I was concerned for the safety of everyone in that building and everyone in the country because precautions that the CDC and guidelines that the CDC have been telling us for months now weren't being followed. Let me refresh here because the text got garbled here a little bit. So then, as schools have opened for the new academic year around the country, parents and administrators are making a difficult decision about how to ensure students get the education they need while also staying safe in an ongoing pandemic. While many have responded to the resurgence of cases with completely remote schooling, others have opted to return to the classroom, which I don't get, which is the nation's top infectious disease expert, Anthony Fauci, has said works if safety measures are the priority. So CNN reached out to North Paulding High School and Paulding County School District, and they got no response. In a letter to the community superintendent, Brian Otto, the photo was taken out of context, writing, classes change at the high school level are a challenge when maintaining specific schedules. It's an area we're continuing to work in this new environment to find predictable ways to further limit students from congregating. Students are in this hallway environment for just a brief period as they move to their next class. There is no question that the photo does not look good. Wearing a mask is a personal choice, and there's no practical way to enforce a mandate to wear them. Why isn't there? Why isn't there? Why can't you suspend the kid? Why can't you write him up? Right? You get your hall monitors. You got people around, and if you're not wearing your mask, boom, we're finding people on the streets. I mean, you look at that picture, and there's hundreds of kids in that hallway, and 80% of them aren't wearing masks. All those teachers and administrators are going to pick up this stuff. So when you have this lazy way, but look at Georgia, they're in COVID trouble because they're freaking ignorant. The governor there is an idiot. So Waters said the time to move from one class to another only lasts about 5 minutes, but students from all classes often speed walk from one end of the campus to the other, passing countless students. Waters said she was suspended over the photo and that the school said she violated 3 conduct policies: using her phone during an instruction time, using her phone during school hours for social media, and filming students and posting on a social media platform. But students in grade 9 through 12 are exempt from the phone ban. Waters also said she did not post a photo until school was over, so it wasn't during school. Waters admitted she broke the policy on posting images of students to social media, but she doesn't regret it. I'd like to say this is some good and necessary trouble. My biggest concern is not only about me being safe, it's about everybody being safe, because behind every teacher, student, and staff member, there's a family, there are friends, and I would like to keep everybody safe. She is a true American. She is a hero. She is looking out for what's best for our society. She did the right thing, okay? And the school for suspending her is absolutely bogus. The school should be embarrassed that you're opening it up and you're allowing that environment. And so if you can't police the kids and you can't force them to wear a mask because your stupid governor does not require it, okay, then you should not have schools open. So Gus 1388, thank you, my brother, for sending me that article. I saw it, and it's a shame that that's what's going on here in this country, you know, but we're going to continue on this path if, you know, and I know they want to spin it, well, oh, we got, you know, less cases and all that, but there was still 50-something thousand cases yesterday. We still had over 1,200 people dead. You know, I'm sorry. I'm not going to make light of people dying. You know what I mean? I'm just not. So this all can be controlled, and we have to have the discipline. But obviously in Georgia, they don't have the discipline. That's why they're in the kind of trouble that Florida is, that Texas is, that California is, Louisiana, South Carolina. These are the states. You know, there's several states that are on the rise, but these states that I just mentioned are kind of the hotspot states that are just having, you know, out of control number of cases and deaths. So we'll see what ends up developing there. But yeah, this is kind of the game we're playing, unfortunately. Were you going to say something? Oh, okay. All right, 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the text line, that's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the text line, this pandemic would have been over months ago had everybody followed mask and distancing guidelines. Exactly. But because they don't, and we keep spreading it, you know, that's how it is. What are you going to do? By doing that, you're just breathing life. You're letting it sustain its life. Right. And you're making our lives, you know, worse, because then it slows us down now, you know? And that's the worst part about it, because it sets us back. People lose jobs. People are losing their businesses because we keep spreading this damn thing, you know? And that's the part that absolutely is brutal. It just kills us, man. And it's sad because we have a lot of people that could be, you know, could be working right now and providing for their families. But because of this outbreak, it's limited businesses from opening, and it's actually forced businesses to close down. Sad stuff. All right. 786-322-1105. Remember, you can always reach out to us on Twitter. That's at Big O Show. Follow us there as always on Twitter. And you can email us, Orlando at BigORadioshow.com. We are working, by the way, just to give you a heads up, on the shirts, the hats, masks, all that kind of stuff that's in the works. So we are figuring everything out, designs, all that stuff. And pretty soon we'll have a selection of stuff that you guys can purchase and sport and help the show out. We appreciate it, as always, all of you out there always for supporting our show however it is that you support our show. It's awesome. It really is. Let's see. It's BS that they cannot enforce masks. We enforce them to dress codes, ID wearing, and other rules of conduct so they can enforce masks. They chose not to. Remember, James, it's Georgia. Okay? The Atlanta mayor has been tough on it, but the Georgia governor has been, like our governor in Florida, a moron. Like now the governor in Texas was a moron for a long time, and his state now is exploding with cases. Why? Because if your leaders don't take it serious and they say, "Oh, it's not, it's not a big deal," then people, they follow their leaders, and they're like, "Okay, well, he says there's nothing wrong," and obviously our number one leader, that guy never takes it serious. So you have a lot of people that then follow his lead, and then this is the mess we're in, dude. So what are you going to do? It is what it is. Rosendo is in the house, and good morning to everybody. All right, nice to see. We got some news that we got to get into. All right, so yesterday, Greg Rousseau, a little bit after we got off the air, opted out of the 2020 season. And it's interesting timing, right? Because the U was terrible last year. And Rousseau had a hell of a year. And he put himself in position with the Michigan kid, Payne, the Basham kid from Wake Forest, the Patrick Jones II from Pittsburgh, the kid with that long-ass name in UCLA. Those are some of the top defensive ends in the country. And Rousseau is right there with them at the top of that list. So he's guaranteed to go probably in the first 5 to 10 picks of the draft, one way or the other. If he plays, he risks all kinds of things. He also risks getting COVID and developing some kind of issue from COVID. There's a good chance he gets COVID and nothing happens to him. But there's a slim chance that something does linger. And it's interesting that he opts out on a day where they get Leonard Taylor, the 5-star defensive tackle from Palmetto, to commit. And I tell you this because those of you that have followed our show for a long, long time, or maybe only for a few years, you might have already learned this about me. I don't get excited about guys, recruits signing. Okay? I heard some of the silliness yesterday. I watched some of the silliness yesterday. I read some of the silliness yesterday with Leonard Taylor, and he's a 5-star, and it's amazing, and he's part of the Palmetto 5 and all that stuff. And anybody remember the Northwestern class? How highly recruited they were? How about N'Kosi Perry? I thought he was Teddy Bridgewater, but with athleticism. He was neither. Willie Williams. I mean, I could go on and on and on for 40 years telling you about players that were committed to the U and were supposed to be great players, and they sucked. And I'm not saying that Leonard Taylor's going to suck, but I'm telling you, Greg Rousseau's a hell of a player, and you got all excited, and guess what? You never saw his best year. How do you like them apples? You never saw the Greg Olsen that became a Hall of Famer in the NFL. You never saw the Frank Gore that became a Hall of Famer in the NFL. You never saw Sam Shields turn into a hell of a player because he wasn't one at you. And yet you'll get, a Warren Sapp and Ed Reed and a Santana Moss who weren't highly recruited and become great players for you. My point is, Leonard Taylor, it's great to get him. It's great to get a couple of other guys. And I get that. They've got Savion Collins and Brashard Smith already committed from the Palmetto 5. And there's 2 more kids, the Marshall and Collier kid that maybe they could get. and one's a 4-star, one's a 5-star. None of that means anything to me. Because I've watched many 4 and 5-star guys that did absolutely squat at the University of Miami. Do you know when I get excited for them? When I actually see them kicking ass on the field. That's when I get excited. Because the Northwestern class was supposed to turn the entire program around. Because you got like 7 guys from that same class. And they were like the mythical national champions and all that crap. And it turned into absolutely nothing. So, to me, it was kind of an interesting, dynamic that we had the highly touted guy that people were getting excited about. Meanwhile, the highly touted guy that everybody was looking forward to, you never got to see in his most important year. You pick up Quincy Roche to be opposite of him so you could have a great 1-2 punch as pass rushers. You pick up De'Aaron King to kind of straighten out the offense and Lashley to run the offense. You did all of that, and now you lost your best player on the team. This is why you can't get excited about any of this stuff until they actually take the field and they're actually playing for you. And then you can find out how good that 2-star guy is and how good that 4-star guy is and the 5-star guy is. And look, I'm not here to rain on the Leonard Taylor parade. I'm just experienced from watching guys over the years flop and come in with all this reputation and all this crap. And, it just doesn't. I mean, look, Manny Diaz, great defensive coordinator. His first year as a head coach left everything to be desired. There was nothing desirable about Manny Diaz's first year. Like, we're hoping he learned a lot from his first year. Because his first year, many, many stretches weren't just bad. They were flat out embarrassing, dude. Okay? Manny Diaz wasn't just bad last year. He was embarrassing. Gotta say it. So let's wait till Leonard Taylor actually takes the field, actually becomes a stud, actually dominates. You know what I mean? Let's wait for that. And I tell you, because Greg Rousseau becomes a perfect example. After putting in all your effort and all your emotion for Greg Rousseau and waiting for the year that you were waiting for to cash in and expect to pay off, he's gone. And you don't have him anymore. Because all his sacks last year meant nothing in that season. But you were hoping this year, if you were a good team, his sacks would have meant something. And with Quincy Roche on the other side, you're like, holy crap, we got ourselves a really nice 1-2 punch. Now Quincy Roche is going to face the double teams. And now, who's the other guy that steps up? Is there a 4 or 5-star guy that's going to step up now? We'll find out. We'll find out. But I just thought, and look, I don't blame, on the flip side here, I don't blame Gregory Rousseau for leaving. Not at all. Okay? He has every right to leave. He is smart. You don't know how this season's going to go. He may suffer an injury. He may suffer a COVID attack. It may affect him long term. Why take that chance? Hell, he might get COVID twice this year. Think about that. You get it early, you recover, and later in the season, right before the bowl game, you pick it up again. Think about that. That could happen. That's a possibility. You think he wants to deal with that? No, man. You deal with a COVID attack in the locker room? No, dude. I'm sorry. I don't blame him. And he's locked in. He's a top 10 pick no matter what. And think about this. He's a top 5 pick locked in if the season does go awry early on, which is what I think is going to happen anyway. I don't think we're going to have a college football season. I think we're going to have all kinds of cases, and eventually college football is going to have to be shut down. It's a contact sport, man. We played you the Aaron Donald cut yesterday. Dude was speaking the truth the entire time. And for any of you UM fans out there that, wanted to get on, like they did on Tre'Davious White, which, by the way, he opted to stay, actually, when it all said and done. But, some fans, maybe were disappointed in Gregory Rousseau. If it's your son, you're doing what's best for your son. And if your son's already locked in to be a first-rounder, a top half first-rounder, no matter what, okay, I think he's a top 5 pick probably. But let's say worst-case scenario, top 10. Why would you play this year? It makes no sense. You're risking everything, and you have very little to gain already. What are you trying to move up? 1 spot? 2 spots? At this point, you're already a top 5, top 10. Bro, take it. Take it. That's all. You know why? It's all, and listen, it's a premium position. There's only a few of those kind of guys every year. He's one of them. So they're going to definitely reach a little bit for those kind of guys. And what about if he has a bad season where he gets a hyperextended knee and it gets in the way of his game and he doesn't put up good stats? Now he drops to the second round. Now he lost money. The only thing Gregory Rousseau can do is practically lose money. He's not going to be a top pick, the top pick. Why? He's not a quarterback. So the guy from Clemson is going to be number 1. And I don't know if Justin Fields will be number 2 from Ohio State, or the kid from the Dakotas, from the same team that the kid from Philly played for.
Carson.
Yeah, Wentz. I think it's South Dakota. I think it's not North Dakota. I think it's South Dakota. I always get them confused. But anyway, I think it's South Dakota, and that kid's also right up there. It's him or Fields as the number 2 guy. So that kid, Rousseau, will be worst case scenario on the back end of the top 5 or in the top 10. So what are you playing for? You're not playing for anything. You're probably going to get drafted in the same spot if you have a solid year that you would have with or without playing. But if you have a crappy year, an injury year, that's the one that knocks you out of the top 10. It's genius, Rousseau's move. It's smart. It's healthy. It sucks for the University of Miami. I get that. I can't argue that one. But I also can't argue if I'm a father, I would have my son make the same decision. These universities only use you, man. So if you're done using them and you're set for yourself, move on. The rest of your sacrifice this year is for the you, not for you. For the you, not you.
It's North Dakota State, and they're all upset because, they're a perennial national champion.
Yeah.
They're a little bit like,
so it's North Dakota?
Are you serious?
All right, it's North Dakota, whatever.
The Bison.
All right, so they're actually it's even more cold in that place. Let's take a break. 1 hour down. Panthers are on. Back with more live from Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021 at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right, we back. Ah, yes. It's a good thing, man.
It's amazing how great this sounds when the Wi-Fi works. and
Yes.
the Ethernet.
Yes, it is. It's
Yeah, man.
It's a beautiful thing when it does work.
Hopefully next week we'll have that thing figured out over at Toyota. I think we should.
Yeah. We'll figure it out. I'm not worried about that.
It's all on that Comcast, brother.
Okay. All right. So Comcast has got to get on the ball and make sure they provide strong internet on a consistent basis there, and not make it uneven. I got you. Okay. If that's what you're saying, all right. Well, then we'll go with it. If you want to get in, you can reach out to us on the text line, 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in, I am seeing here the Panthers. And am I not live here? Is that what it is? Is that why we're? I don't get it. Okay. It looks like I'm behind here. How come I can't get? I gotta catch up here, bro. Let's see. Let me go. Where do we go here? I want to go live, bro. What's the deal? Watch live. Let's go. It's got me like at the beginning of the damn game. There we go. Okay. All right. Oh no, I guess it has. I guess it officially hasn't started yet. Is that what it is? Looks like it started a while. It's 12:12. What do we have here? Is my TV? I went in on what's it called on Hulu to watch it, and they're still in the studio, or is that thing not live right now? I guess I'm not live. Let me see. Let me hit the scoreboard here. Make sure I'm right. No, yeah, they're already started the game. How do I fast forward this bitch? Come on, let's go. All right. Okay, I think oh, here we go. There we go. I got it. Jump to live. Finally, found it. I have trouble walking and chewing gum, folks. Okay, so now you're asking me to fix this while I'm on the air. All right, 18-19 now, and they are scoreless in that game. So we'll keep you updated on all of that. The U released their schedule yesterday. They open it up against UAB. Then they go to Louisville. Then they come home against FSU. They get a bye week, and then they go to Clemson. And, you know, Happy Valley and all that place will be packed. Fans will be oh, no, that's right, it won't be. Then they take on Pittsburgh at home, Virginia at home, bye week. They travel to NC State. They travel to Vatech. Oh, Blacksburg. That place is crazy. Those people are drinking. Oh, that's right. They're not going to be doing it. Then they come home against Georgia Tech. Then they go to Wake Forest and then home against pesky North Carolina, who always gives Miami fits one way or another. They better take care of business there is what better happen. Look, I'm not going to play the schedule game, and especially now that Gregory Rousseau, you know, I don't know if it's going to lead to any other player that really wants to step out that already has their draft position locked in. I don't know. Unless there's a smart guy or two that can count on the education part and doesn't take football nearly as serious. Maybe you lose some depth guys or something like that. But it'll be interesting to see. And remember the Penn State kid, Micah Parsons, the linebacker. He's like a top 10 pick also with Rousseau. And he opted out yesterday from Penn State. And there is the deadline. There is no deadline, I think, actually, in college. So this could happen now over the next couple of weeks here. You could see more big names, especially the ones at the top of the draft, saying, you know what? I don't need this season. I'm already kind of set. I mean, think about this. Okay, I just want to throw this out there. Does Trevor Lawrence really need this season? Does he? Isn't he the number one pick no matter what? I don't care. If Trevor Lawrence takes the year off and Fields wins the national title with Ohio State, he's still the number one pick. So think about that. And Trevor Lawrence, I believe, won a title 3 years ago. Am I correct, Bill? Doesn't Trevor Lawrence already have a title?
That would be correct.
Okay, so why is Trevor Lawrence playing this year? For what? What does he really have to play for?
He likes wearing orange.
Okay, if he likes wearing orange, then, bro, put on an orange shirt and hang out. Call Andy Reid. He'll hook you up with one of those. What's the name of those people? The shirts he wears.
Bahama.
Tommy Bahama.
Tommy Bahamas.
Hey, get you an orange Tommy Bahama shirt.
Maybe he likes running down that hill before the game at their home games.
I don't know.
The possibility of twisting an ankle, falling, having 15 guys crumble down on top of you.
I mean, if he wants to play with The Rock this season, then go ahead. Whatever. But seriously, what does Trevor Lawrence have to play for this year? Why should he play at all this season? Why should he risk anything at this point? He's accomplished everything he could accomplish. Oh, well, he could come back and have a better year than he did last year because he wasn't as great last year. Oh, wow, give me a break. Have you seen the guy? He's the number 1 pick. He's got a cannon for an arm. He's built like a freaking wall. He's an athlete that can run like a deer. He's a good kid overall. He's a champion already. What does Trevor Lawrence have to prove in a season like this? I know Clemson fans that, maybe 1 or 2 are listening or watching, because I know this is not like the kind of show that's going to attract a lot of Clemson fans. But think about it, really. What are you playing for? At all. Trevor Lawrence is being completely selfless by staying, when he really should be completely selfish and leave. This is not the year when you're locked into being the number 1 pick that you should play. I wonder if anybody in South Carolina, in the newspapers there locally, had the balls to write that column. Why is Trevor Lawrence playing? Why isn't Trevor Lawrence opting out? If I was his father, I would tell Trevor Lawrence to opt out. He's already won the national championship. He's already proven he'll be the number 1 pick next year in the draft. Why should he play? He is risking injury, risking having a terrible season, risking knocking himself out from the number 1 spot, where right now he will lock in that number 1 spot. So you tell me, why should Trevor Lawrence actually play in this season? There really is no real driving motivation that he should play this season. How screwed up is that? That's pretty amazing. All right, 786-322-1105. That's 786-322-1105. If you want to get in on the text line, 786-322-1105. They are, by the way, in the 14th minute right now, and they are scoreless between the Islanders and the Panthers. Let's see. Jeff Fox says, I'm enjoying the NBA, but you cannot put the NFL in a bubble. I hope, but I do not see how it can happen under these circumstances. Actually, Jeff, we've already talked about it on the show. You can put them in a bubble. You put them in 32 bubbles. So what you do is you have the Dolphins, let's just say for craps and giggles, okay? They would use a better hotel. But the hotel that's right there next to the stadium, okay? Or you pick one that's right next to the practice facility. One on the one off of 95 that they use all the time, 595. I forgot the name of that one. But let's say, so you bubble them up, you take over a couple of floors of a hotel, okay? You seal those floors off. Only players are there. Security, nobody else can go in those things. So you're sequestered. They get bused to and from the practice facility every day, and then they're bused to the stadium for games. And then they're on their charter plane, their plane, because the Dolphins own their plane, and I think every team except maybe the Bengals probably own a plane. And so you control the atmosphere in the plane, and then everybody else does the same thing. It's 32 bubbles. Everybody has their private bubble. It's all about sacrifice, Jeff. And the players aren't willing to make the sacrifice of being in a bubble for 4 months. And those that have to go into the playoffs, it'll be 5 or 6 months for them. So it's really all about sacrifice. It has to be in the collective bargaining agreement. You are right. You can't come up with one bubble where you have a couple of fields and it's all in one place. You can't do that with 32 teams. But every team can have their own isolated bubble if they felt like it, if they really feel like doing it. That's all I'm saying. So we have talked about it. That's the way you would do it, but it's up to them. You know they're crazy in West Virginia. You got to be crazy if you're a product of your biological aunt and uncle's offsprings. Flipper 13. Wasn't me, by the way. Give me Justin Fields and number 1. I wouldn't take Fields over Trevor Lawrence. I disagree with you there, Flipper. Let's see. Why would the Blue Chippers play at all this season? Risk outweighs the rewards. Exactly. UG96 says, the love of the game. And then he puts hearts with crosses inside. Let's see. If he gets hurt, he still will be the number one. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe Trevor should opt out like defensive end Greg Rousseau. And then he says, imagine the Dolphins picking him up. Hey, they could pick up Gregory Rousseau. Big O, you need to watch more Justin Fields, and you know why Lawrence is not tapped out yet. I love your NFL bubble idea. Oh, why haven't we heard the brainbacks at the NFL even discuss this? Yeah, you know them. Bromar Smelly says, happy Friday to all. You know, they that had to have come up already about that. You know? It had to have come up. By the way, we will have Jordan McPherson joining us at 1 o'clock to talk a little Marlins. And then Michelle Kaufman will join us at 1:30. So we will have 2 excellent interviews, two hot topics to talk about with the MLS Finals already set. Orlando City yesterday beat Minnesota. And so they advanced to take on Portland. So that's going to be a fun final here in the tournament. So we'll have Michelle talk a little Inter, talk a little MLS, and then Jordan McPherson will talk about the hottest team in South Florida, your Miami Marlins. Jordan McPherson is covering the team with the best record in the majors. Okay? Winning percentage. But yes, best record in the majors. Bill, I am tempted to do something really, 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 really crazy.
So you are going to try to do a backflip 10 feet away from the pool from a 3-story building.
Night Ranger, the Struts, and Steel Panther are bringing back live rock and roll to drive-in theaters over the next couple of months, with traditional indoor-outdoor concert venues all but completely shut down as a result of the coronavirus pandemic. Musicians and stand-up comedians have started performing socially distant shows at drive-in movie theaters. Audience members remain inside or near their cars, which are spaced apart from other attendees. The Struts and Night Ranger will be among the first major rock acts to follow suit, with respective headlining shows on August 21st and 22nd at the Starlight Drive in Butler, Pennsylvania. I checked it out. Butler, Pennsylvania is 35 miles north of Pittsburgh. Anybody watching right now is close to that? If you are, I am so jealous. So jealous. The Struts will perform a concert in the parking lot of Philadelphia Citizens Bank Park August 22nd. Steel Panther will perform at the Starlight on September 11th before moving to the Circle Drive-In in Scranton, Pennsylvania the next night. I want to go, dude. I want to go badly. So the Starlight Theater, okay, they got it going on, dude. I mean, big time, okay? I don't know who Burt Kreshner's Hot Summer Nights are, but he's going to be there. I don't know who that guy is, but I guess he's a comedian. They have Chase Rice August 16th at the Starlight. Then they have the Struts, and the Struts will be August 21st. Nick Perry will also be the opening act. It's Friday, August 21st. Doors open at 6. Show starts at 8. I would love to go, man. It's not bad, $160 for 4 people for a car of 4. That's not bad. That's actually a pretty good deal, man.
Oh, that's very reasonable.
That's very reasonable, dude. Okay? I would love... I want to drive up there just to go to the show. See, because I stay in my car. I drive up the entire time. All I got to do is pump gas. You know?
You're in your bubble. You're in your car.
Yeah, you're kind of like in your own bubble. Night Ranger, if you want to go, this Starlight Drive-In, they've got their crap together, dude. They're on the 22nd, which is a Saturday. They're going to be performing. This is awesome. Fantastic. Nikki Glazer, the comedian, she's going to be doing something August 27th there. Aaron Lewis will be there August 29th. Brian Regan will be there September 3rd. The Marcus King Trio will be there. Steel Panther's going to do a show there. And how about this one? Blackberry Smoke, September 12th will be there. I love Blackberry Smoke. They jam. Anybody that lives close to that area, let me tell you something, I am jealous, you bastards, okay? Because I wish we had an aggressive drive-in area that did this for us. That would be, I would be at all these concerts. This would be like, this is therapy for me. I mean, I love the Struts. What do you think? What's a drive from here to Butler, Pennsylvania, Bill? We got to be there Friday in 2 weeks.
If you drive straight through, if I had to venture a guess.
15, 20 hours?
Somewhere in that window, because, yeah, Tennessee's like 10, 11. Chicago's like 20. So, yeah, so somewhere, 15, give or take a few hours, probably.
Okay. I got to go, man. I got to do something. I got to see. I need to see. I am jonesing for a concert. Jonesing badly for a concert. Ugh.
What, YouTube isn't, and the streams and all that aren't getting your fix?
I love YouTube, man. I mean, it's been a blessing for me. I don't mind, but I've been jonesing.
You're not getting to go anywhere. You're not,
Yeah.
You know what?
And
do you get to ride by the T-shirt venue before you leave the concert, or do you get T-shirts on the way in?
No, they probably have a line for it, but there's probably spaced out is probably what you're doing for that line. You know what I mean? But it's such a.
I thought you weren't supposed to be getting out of your car.
No, but I mean, you can get out of your car. You can stand by your car to watch the concert.
That's very exciting.
Hey, listen. Right.
You'll take whatever you can get right now?
Yes.
Beggars can't be choosy, brother.
Yes, definitely. Big O, what's your take on the new changes at ESPN Radio? What happened, New York City sports? I have no idea. What's the changes on ESPN Radio? Just shows you how much I keep up with ESPN Radio. I'm not exactly sure what changed. You gotta be a little bit more specific, my brother. I'm not really. I know about Golick out and all that, but I don't really know what they did. I'm one of the few people that likes what they did on Monday Night Football. I do. You know why? They actually got people to talk about football. So, yeah. Look, because sports radio and the sports entertainment business has kind of it's taken a turn to, well, let's not talk about sports per se. Let's clown around and goof off in the direction of sports in a way. And not really. And I guess I'm old school and I love talking sports and talking about the different scenarios and players and, teams and transactions and trades and breaking down all that stuff and talking about it. And I guess I'm comfortable, talking and creating different storylines amongst all that stuff. And I think that we have gotten so lazy that most people can't really come up with a lot of sports topics because they're not really good at talking sports. Do you know why? They're not watching the games. If you're just going to watch the highlights and you're going to read an article or two and then you're going to go on the air and talk about it, you're not really going to be able to add the kind of color and insight that you could possibly add in a conversation. And so I know that that's the direction we're going in. And I like that they put together on Monday night a crew that actually is going to talk football and break the game down and talk about it. And I know it might be boring for some people because they're not serious sports fans. They're not hardcore. I am. I'm watching the Heat yesterday. I'm watching the Marlins yesterday. I'm watching MLS yesterday. I'm well-versed on all of it. By the way, that game got interesting when Minnesota scored, made it 2-1. That was interesting. I thought they were going to rob Minnesota of that goal like they did at Philadelphia the night before. But that was a really interesting finish there until they made it 3-1. And Nani, wow, put on a show yesterday. That was awesome. But that's our real problem in sports talk nowadays, is that a lot of the men and women that are doing it aren't really watching the games anymore. And so then they'll clown around all the time and goof off because really they're not strong enough to talk about sports. And so Monday night was kind of going in that direction of Dennis Miller and Kornheiser and goofing off and kind of, it wasn't straight football. And I think what they did with this Monday night crew, they put together a crew that is not there to make you laugh, okay? And I'm sorry if that's what you're there to do, well, I'm glad that that's not what they're there to do. They're there to really talk about the game and the things that are going on and the storylines and break it down the way it's supposed to be broken down. And I kind of like the people that they put there in place. Now, I don't know about ESPN Radio. I can't answer that one because I really have no idea what you're talking about. Again, you got to give me the specifics on what happened and what they changed, and then maybe I can give you my take on that. Let's take a quick break here. We're at the bottom of the hour. At the top of the hour, Jordan McPherson's going to join us from the Miami Herald. We'll talk a little Miami Marlins, the red hot Marlins. We'll talk with Jordan. Jordan was there live, by the way, in Baltimore covering the games, okay? Which I think he's going to be now on his couch for the next couple of series, which is basically just like being in Baltimore because you really don't have access. You're doing it all virtually, so it doesn't matter where you're at. But he was at the experience of traveling for the games and going to them and being in an empty Camden Yards and all that good stuff. So let's talk to Jordan at the top of the hour. When we come back, we got a couple of other things that I want to talk about. Back with more right here on The Big O Show.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021. At Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show.
All right, we're back. Plenty to talk about. So have you decided yet, Bill? Are we going to go to Pennsylvania? What do you think? Get in the Camry?
I would say no.
Get in the spaceship and ride You know, it would be a nice cruise.
You know who wants to go to the Struts with you?
Although I won't go in my Camry.
Grieper wants to go with you to the Struts.
You know what?
After all that, being outside in 45 minutes, everything, the story he told me, he is so excited.
I was going to call Grieper. I think he would go.
He might just to go to a show, yeah.
Well, I was going to call Grieper anyways because I figured it would be us three to go. You know?
You really want to go all the way to Pennsylvania for that?
Hell yeah.
See, I'm not that big of a Struts fan. They're not, like, oh my
God. Are you into? Have you really gotten into their couple
they're
albums?
Okay.
They're
okay.
Really good. They're
not
really
Phoenix.
Good.
They're not M83. They're not
really good, bro. Live, they're phenomenal.
They're not
phenomenal.
They're not 21 Pilots.
No. You're. Here's where you're wrong, dude. Their lead singer. Are you ready for this? Is the closest thing to Freddie Mercury. I'm telling you, as a front man, as a singer, as a performer, if you ever see the Struts live, you're going to go, there's a little Freddie Mercury in this guy. And he leaves it out there every single night. I've seen the Struts a couple times, and let me tell you something, the Struts put on an awesome show. They are phenomenal live. That's why I would drive for them, just for the hell of it. Because, well,
I'd do it for Greta.
What the hell? Oh,
no. New band, Greta?
No, that wouldn't have been a question. I wouldn't be asking you about that already. I would have said, hey, I got the tickets already. We're gone. We're history. If Greta's doing it, I'm there.
You know what's going to happen.
It's impossible for me to miss.
Look, the state lines are going to find out we're doing this, and they're going to be these idiots from Florida. Nah, you're not coming up here.
Yeah, they might ban us. There's a good. You do have a good point.
We heard there's some clowns coming up from Florida.
Yeah,
stop them at the border.
Yeah, Pennsylvania is such a beautiful state. You need to drive through Lancaster, a must-visit Longwood Garden. How about that? Okay, Bert Kirshner is funny as F. Thank you for the tip. Okay, now you think about it, dude. Bill, we drive up and we see the Struts on Friday and we see Night Ranger Saturday. We do 2 shows, right? I mean, if we're going to drive up, we're going to be complete pigs, right? I mean, that's what I figure. We would do something like that.
What date is this?
21st, 22nd,
of
Friday,
August.
Saturday. Yeah, this month. 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now. Finish our show Thursday. We take off Thursday. I don't know. We could still do our show up there, too, if we want. Oh, would you have taken a radio gig at ESPN if they offered you a job? Troy, would have to be a lot of money, bro. You know why? They would want me to move up there. Do you know how much money you got to pay me to live in Bristol? You have any idea? I mean, after my move to San Francisco, and that didn't work out, I promised my wife, I told her that the next time I take a job, it has to be a kind of job to leave. It has to be the kind of job that sets our family up. So I doubt they were going to offer me that kind of money because radio's gotten worse and worse and worse now. They're offering less and less and less money. It's what they're doing in radio now. It's a really bad. I don't think people realize how bad of a business it is now. It's a really bad business. And there's a lot of bad people, handling it. I'm not saying that ESPN is, but I don't think that they're offering the kind of money that, oh man, it's going to set my family up no, man, it's the kind of money that you'll live a decent life over there, but it's not going to make it any better. So probably not. I really love what I'm doing here. If we didn't have the pandemic in the way, I think we would be a lot more comfortable. We'd have a lot more sponsors. There are more businesses getting back, so I think we're going to start to hopefully grow a little bit more again. But this is the way to go, man. This is the way to go because I'm not limited. I don't have to play any politics. And here's my problem really with all of this. I don't like playing politics. It's not my game. You know what I mean? It's just not my game. And so it just, we're tied to the NFL and we're tied to the NBA. And we're, no, I just don't need that kind of stuff. I got plenty of it at QAM. You know what I mean? And that's where we're at now. We're at a point where don't you see it, CNN and Fox? Don't you see that? Do you see what's developing? The media is not objective anymore. It's like you've got to be spun one way or another. And then they find out what your spin is, and then they say, well, okay, you fit us. Oh, you don't fit us. Oh, wait a minute, you're objective. No, we don't need that. And so look at look at the direction we're going in. And that's kind of what it is. And they play those politics. That's why I'm telling you that it's a bad business, man. A really bad business. Myron is chiming in with a little super chat. Thank you, Myron. As always, you are a stud, my brother. He says the closest to Freddie is George Michael. Oh, working now, so I couldn't go, but I promise I will. All right, no problem, man. No, but I think you're missing what I'm talking about. I'm talking about as a stage performer. You got to watch him. You got to watch the way he commands the stage, the body language, all of that. George, you're comparing the voice, okay? This guy has got a phenomenal voice, but he's not even at the level of George Michael and especially nobody's at Freddie's level. But his voice is great, but as a performer, as a front man, way better than George. Okay, I saw George. Way better than George. George was more of a guy that kind of used his looks and his sexuality to get the girls going, and whatever guys were also into him too. Whereas, Freddie had a lot of energy to his stage presence. That's how this guy is, and I'm going this guy because I'm brain farting his damn name, which is sucks. But I'm telling you, when you see the Struts live, the way he sings, the way he plays the piano, the way he commands the stage, the energy, I'm telling you, you're going to go, there's a little Freddie in that guy. Okay? Again, remember, I'm not saying he's at Freddie's level singing. Nobody is at Freddie's level singing. Okay? Nobody. But you got to see him live. Okay? Weapons X United chiming in again with a strong super chat. Weapons X here in Atlanta, listening to your amazing show. We should all be sending you super chats every day. You're priceless. I thank God for you and your show, Big O. Keep rocking. Thank you, man. That's very, very kind of you, man. Very, very kind. Thank you so much, man. That is, it's flattering. It really is. We are going to do our best, man, to stay around and build this thing up. And you guys are certainly helping us out every single day. However it is with our sponsors, by listening, by downloading, by super chatting. Hopefully we'll have the shirts and the hats and all kinds of stuff. And suggestions I need, okay? Shirts are normal. Hats are normal. We're going to try to get masks. I don't know about this one, but at least the surgical one that a lot of people use, we'll probably get that one. I don't know if we can make these. I don't even know if people want these. I get this one because it helps me for my broadcast. You know what I mean? And it's quick in and out, too. It's fast to put these on and take them off, which you got to admit, right, Bill? These things are the best, right? To put them on and take them off, they're so quick, you know?
These are actually because of the vocal for us, first and foremost.
Oh, yes.
But
yeah,
I have to say they are decently comfortable.
Yeah.
Because of the way they hang.
Yep.
We had the other one that's the tight sock.
Right.
And I've actually seen some of the baseball players try to wear them, and all you got to do is start to talk, and because of the tightness, it goes right in your mouth.
Right. Yeah.
So you end up spending the whole day pulling this thing out of your mouth.
Right. Exactly.
You're not supposed to be touching your face. It's
Yeah.
defeating the purpose.
Yeah. No, I hate it. Herman says, phone calls, Big O. LOL. Ian says, double XL. Yeah, we will have double XL shirts for sure.
By the way, if you
sale,
guys are
for
trying
sure.
to call in, all the phone lines are busy. We're sorry.
Yeah, they're all busy right now. But we'll definitely have double XL shirts. I learned that when we had the giveaways, that we gave away we gave away all the double XLs, and there weren't a lot of them. Only had a few. And then we were loaded with XLs, and they're gone. The large was the ones that were left over most. And then the smalls went quickly, too. We didn't order a lot of them, but we had, we're actually really fortunate. We have a lot of women that watch the show, listen, download, follow us on Twitter and all kinds of stuff. They may not all, chat like Alexa does, like Lisa does, Marta, Lakeisha. I'm trying to remember some of the regular ladies that are usually on with us, but there are a bunch of other ones, and those shirts went quickly. So I learned my lesson there, and we will definitely, load up on specific shirts to make sure that they're available. So thank you. Rosendo says, Big O, when this pandemic is over, will you work the same time slot, or will you start on a different time slot like mid-afternoon? I have no idea. But to be honest with you, which I always try to be honest with you guys out there, this show will change. It will move. Once I get the soccer station up and running on a full-time basis, that's going to take up a lot of my time. I'm a station manager. I got to handle talent, production, promotions, sales. It's an enormous job. I'm going to have a couple of shows on that station. My presence will be all over it. Because I'm heavily involved, obviously, in helping everybody put this thing together. So our show will adjust, and we will not be on at the same time all the time. I can tell you that. So we will be moving around a little bit. It won't be as comfortable and as permanent as it has been. So that's the one thing that will be kind of screwed up. We will get the show in, but it might be earlier in the morning. It might be later in the afternoon. It might be early evenings. It might change around a little bit because of the demands that I'm going to have with my other job. So yes, so it might change a little bit. There's no doubt about that. I can't lie to you guys out there. Clee Torres, he says, inspired by Weapons X, and he sends in a super chat. Thank you, Clee. Very nice of you, my brother. Thank you. NorCal says, damn, lost track of time down in the garden. Hope everyone's having a great day and having a great weekend. Fins for life. James says, just make sure you get the soft cotton ones, not the stiff cotton that rubs off your nipples. Oh, yeah, no, I'm with you. Yes. We will have the soft cotton. Actually, we will give you the option of what kind of shirt you want. If I'm correct, the way it works out, you'll get the design, and then you'll get what level of shirt you want. So if you want a cheaper shirt, you can get one. You want a medium price shirt, or you want the really nice shirts, the dry fit material, you can order that. So it'll be up to you to decide what kind of shirt you want actually there. So we'll give you an option. I know that for sure. And several colors to pick from too. Okay? There you go. All right. I guess what else do we have here? DeAndre Baker charged with 4 counts of robbery with firearm. Quentin Dunbar not charged. Wow. Okay. But Baker is the high draft pick for the Giants, right? Wow. Yeah, that's not a good day for that general manager. Man. Myron says, I'm open schedule. I can hear your show live anytime. Well, thank you, Myron. Appreciate you. Life is a Gamble says, any Finns fans saying they don't want AB in Miami and saying Malcolm Perry been working the slot and blind Homer fans who don't know what winning feels like. Yep, no, that's right. Don't know what winning feels like. You right. You guys are right. You guys got to want AB here, bro. I mean, come on, who doesn't want AB here? You know, we'll get to hear him rip the owner, you know, burn his feet off, assault more truck drivers, maybe assault a woman or two while he's here, you know, bitch and complain. No, you're right. I mean, you know, Antonio Brown is one of those guys that, you just clamor for. You got to have on your team.
Bro, you know what kind of a benefit he is to the community? And what he brings.
So you mean the lawyers will be happy because they'll get some business? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Furniture companies, he's going to need more couches to throw off balcony. I mean, think about it, man. He'll help the economy.
I love it. Gus goes, big O cutoff tanks as an option would be great. Wow. Who you still wearing cutoff tanks? That's strong. I don't think I've seen anybody wear a cutoff tank top, man, in forever. One guy goes, I'm a fatty guy, so I don't need dry fit shirts. No, but that's actually really good for us fat guys, the dry fit shirts. I'm telling you. Okay?
You know what's another industry AB would help? Because, you know, he wouldn't last long at a place because he's causing all this mischief.
Yep.
Good Greek, move it in storage. You'd have to give them a call, right?
Oh, yeah, because he moves a lot.
Exactly.
Yeah, good
Look how many
they're on TV
businesses are being affected by
That's
AB.
True. Good Greek. Well, no, but Good Greek may not want to work for AB. You know why? He might beat up their drivers.
You know what? I didn't even think about the assault situation.
Yeah, but then again,
you want to try to avoid that when you go.
But then again, wait a minute, AB. You may not want to mess around with a superhero mover because he is superhero, so he might kick your ass. So watch out there, AB. You know, if you call the Good Greek, oppa, right in the face. Okay? Steve Chapman says, been out of the loop for a while, missed the announcement. What's the new job, Big O? I am station manager for Inter Miami. We are creating a radio station, but it's all soccer, so it may not be interest of you, Steve. It'll be international soccer, MLS, local soccer, a little pop culture and life mixed in, all that kind of stuff. And so it's going to be called Onside Radio, and we are hopefully starting by the end of this month. It'll be up and running. So there you go. So that will take up a lot of my time, and it's free radio. By the way, all of you can listen to it at any time. You download the Inter Miami app, and you'll be able to listen to all the Inter Miami games there, and then all of our soccer shows that we're going to have there also. So if you're a soccer intensive fan, that's the station for you anywhere in the country, because that's what we're going to be. We're going to be the soccer station for everybody, really, all over the world. And we'll have a 1-800 number. We already have the 1-800 number. I already memorized it and everything. I have it in my mind right now. I can't give it to you because we're not open yet for business. But we have a 1-800 number. We'll have the text line, all of that. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's one of those things. I've always been the guy that's promoted soccer my whole life, local soccer. So I am so happy that we have an owner like Jorge Mas that is so selfless in the way he has gone all out to create a first-class soccer product. And so we are blessed. And and now he is going to go even further by helping us create a soccer network, which is something that fans need in this country. So there you go, Steve. And I probably gave you information that you probably don't care about because you probably are not a soccer fan. But if you are, it'll be definitely a station that you'll love. Okay? All right? So there you go. It's a beautiful thing. I see Life is a Gamble is now tweeting or texting every second. And he's a big proponent of Antonio Brown. There you go. I know the Panthers were losing 1-0 the last time I checked. Looks like they're in an intermission, so that's probably the same intermission from the first period, right? I would imagine. Let me see what the score is to make sure. Oh, it's 2-1 Islanders, end of the first. There we go. I saw 1-0. I didn't even see the second and third goals scored. Holy crap. 2-1 Islanders already at the end of the first.
Come on, Cats. Stay alive.
Oh, man.
Live for another day.
They are so frustrating, dude. They are as frustrating as it gets.
Well, we'll see. They got 2 periods to decide if they want to continue to play their sport or go venture to another one, be it fishing or golfing.
So you want to go to Struts?
I don't. I mean, if you want to go, we're probably going to have to do a show on the road. Yes. Capacity, something.
For sure. Uh-oh. Super Boom Shack drops it. Thank you, Super Boom Shack. Very kind, very generous, as always, with your super chats, man. You're too much. He says, inspired by Clee Torres. Happy Friday, everybody. Well, Clee was inspired by Weapons X United, who inspired Clee, and now Clee inspires Super Boom Shack. I love it, man. It's a beautiful thing.
Domino effect.
Yes, definitely. Nothing wrong with that, Super Boom Shack. Thank you, sir. Very nice.
I hate to stop this, but
we got to
discuss about the 6-1 Marlins.
That's right. Jordan McPherson has covered the hottest team in the majors, the hottest team in South Florida. It's your 6-1 Miami Marlins. Let's talk a little Miami Marlins baseball when we come back right here on the Big O Show, live from Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021. At Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is the Big O Show.
All right. We promised you we're going to talk a little baseball. And Jordan McPherson, baby, he's been eating cheesesteaks and crab cakes and watching the Marlins win. You could follow him, by the way, on Twitter, like I and so many others do, at J_McPherson 1126. And, of course, catch his work there at the Miami Herald website. He is Jordan McPherson. Jordan, good afternoon, my friend. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, Big O. Just one quick clarification. I did eat a bunch of cheesesteaks, no crab cakes. Unfortunately, shellfish and me, they don't go hand in hand. But
okay.
otherwise, I'm doing fantastic.
Yeah, I didn't see any pictures of crab cakes, but I saw. So when now you did the Philly cheesesteak stuff a couple of times. Which one was the best one, my brother? Which one?
Jim South, hands down. But also, granted, I only went to 3 places. I was only there for 3 days. And unfortunately, the Marlins don't go back up there this season. But my goal is each time I go up there, I'm going to try to hit as many places as possible. So I think I need to go up a couple more times before I put out a definitive ranking. But Jim South was hands down the best so far.
Okay. All right. I like it. All right. So let me ask you, my man, do you pinch yourself every day and you're like, because this is turning into the best story in baseball. I mean, this is the American story. We love underdogs as Americans. There is no bigger underdog than the Marlins after how young they are, and then the COVID attack, and Mike Hill has to scramble and put this roster together, and you're sitting there at 6-1, dude. I mean, this is amazing to watch every night.
It really is. And just to go from the complete 180 from, oh my God, the Marlins are going to be the team that shuts down Major League Baseball this year. Of course, it's going to be the Marlins that ruin everything, to how the living heck is this ragtag motley crew team with 17 new faces? How did they go 4-0 against the Orioles after 8 days in quarantine, 17 guys being brought up last second, and putting on an absolute show in 4 games over 3 days? It was remarkable to watch live. It's incredible to watch it unfold. The interesting thing now is to see how it continues. Now that they're playing the Mets, they got 3 games there this weekend, and to see what happens really with their starting pitching. They really only have 3 starting pitchers, and that's who they use for 3 of those 4 games. Yeah. So to see how this develops and see how this continues on is going to be the key part to seeing what happens and to see if it was more than just a flash in the pan.
Yeah, well, I got to tell you something, Jordan. Look, if you continue to pitch this way, and if you continue to play smart baseball, okay, you know, Brian Anderson just with that blooper in the center field just to drive in the run, the base running yesterday, Cervelli and other guys, there were several examples where they were aggressive but smart in their base running and set themselves up, where actually the Orioles in one case had an opportunity to put somebody on third and weren't able to do it because the Marlins, you know, played the proper defense. You know, they're also doing all the things not to beat themselves too, Jordan, which is enormous.
Yeah, that's right. And that's what this team has to do. They've always preached that in order for them, the Marlins preach in order for them to be successful, they have no excuse but to do every single little minute thing correct. If they don't, this team really has no margin for error to do anything else because of just the way the roster was constructed, the fact that they still had a lot of unproven guys, and now they have a lot more unproven guys for the time being. But they've found a way. They've found some sort of continuity, some sort of this confidence that was there from spring training and there over summer camp. It's translated over even after everything they've gone through over the 2 weeks before returning to the field on Tuesday. This team just feels like they're even more tight-knit than ever, and they have this bond and this mental side of them where they all know what each other's doing, and they're finding ways to make that translate to the field, and when they get to the field, to block out everything else that happened. And it's worked so far, and it's a great sight to see.
So it really is amazing how things have developed for them. What's the latest on the COVID side on the players that are out? How long more till they're out of their quarantine?
Yeah, it's a tricky thing. There's no set timeline. The main things that absolutely have to happen in order for them to get cleared by MLB is for them to have consecutive negative tests that are at least 24 hours apart. They have to go at least 72 hours with no symptoms, primarily no fever, and they have to be cleared by the team physician and the physician appointed by MLB's joint COVID-19 committee. Those are the bare minimums. And then you have to factor in how long is it going to take for them to get ready to play, get ready to even just go out there and do practices out in Jupiter. It was either Don Mattingly or Michael Hill earlier this week when we got them when all the moves happened. Matt Joyce, it took him about a month after getting cleared to get out there. He had symptoms for about 6 days early on, but for some players, it could easily take them a month before they get back here. I mean, that's not to say that after 2 weeks you can see 3, 4, 5 guys, but I wouldn't expect everybody to be back by the middle of the month.
Oh, that's it really is amazing how they've been. And listen, this also, you know, Jordan, the interesting part about this story, and I talked about this earlier on the show, there's a lot of Chris Greer here with Mike Hill. You know, Mike was never really truly in charge ever. When under Loria, there was always, you know, more chefs in the kitchen. And so Mike now really gets an opportunity to kind of run the show and do his thing here. And, you know, he's been able to show off a lot here in the last couple weeks here because having to, you know, make up for everything that went on with COVID, they had to sign guys, call up guys, make some moves to put the rest of this roster back together again. And this is a great opportunity over the next year or two for Mike Hill to really show that he can build a real champion and a winner here with this team.
It definitely is. And to point out what you said, I mean, I don't have the exact info here, but I don't think I've ever seen a team that had to make 17 roster moves all at once. And then for him to have to do it through, obviously the smart move there was getting a bunch of guys off of waiver claims and trades and free agency signings, and then calling up more or less guys who are on the 40-man roster already, just because once guys start trickling back, it's a lot of roster management with that 40-man, which is why we didn't see some of the prospects who aren't on the 40-man, J.J. Bleday, people murmuring about Max Meyer trying to come up right away. Obviously, we knew that wasn't happening. But if you put them on the 40-man roster, they have to stay there, which basically puts a hold on a spot that could be used for one of the guys coming back or one of the guys you called up who you want to keep. It's just once guys start coming back, it's going to be interesting to see how he maneuvers, who he keeps, who he lets go, how he balances everything that's going to have to be put into play here, because roster juggling, even when it's 3 or 4 guys at a time, it's tough. But when you have 17 that are basically in this limbo spot, he could potentially find ways that can either make or break the season depending on how everything morphs over these next 6 weeks.
Jordan, you know, I don't have all the particulars and all the rules, but did they alter? Because as you know, you can only call up a minor leaguer a certain amount of times, and then he runs out. Did that get altered during this time here because of COVID and everything else? Because you might have to call guys up and down a whole bunch of times. Does that take away the amount of times you can call up a guy? Is that affected?
Yes, the way options work is basically if you call a guy up and down, it's the amount of seasons you can do it. So you can call a guy up and down 27 times in the same season, and it would only count as one option year. So it's basically just a matter of when they start their service clock. So guys like Monte Harrison and Eddie Alvarez now, if you option them down, you can option them down, you can call them back up, you can option them down, you can call them back up however many times you want to this year, but it will really only affect it the one time. But now you also think about it, there are guys like Magneuris Sierra, he's out of options. So if the Marlins wanted to send him down, they have to completely take him off the 40-man and have him go through waivers. So they still have those types of factors they have to weigh into. It's really more so a matter of the team about which players they want to start the service clock for, more so than the sending them up and down once they bring them up this year.
One of our listeners is saying right now, Big O, this season just proves that Michael Hill was handcuffed with Loria in control. Imagine what this team would look like if he wasn't undermined the whole time. What do you think about that?
That could be a pretty fair assessment. I mean, again, I wasn't directly there when everything was going on before this. I was just on the beat last year. But based off of what I've seen from the last year and a half, last 2 years, he's made there have been some good moves. Obviously, we still need to see exactly how all the big trades from the start of the rebuild ultimately pan out. but from the free agency side and from the moves that he made last week, from the situation that he was put in, I've been impressed. But again, we'll see how everything plays out. We still have a lot of season to go, and we also have to take the fact that it's been 7 games. 4 of those games were against the Orioles, who outside of Marlins were probably the only other low-end team as basically as viewed by the outsiders going into the season. How everything plays out now that they're going to be playing the Mets, they're going to be playing the Blue Jays, they get the Braves here a week from today. If they can keep this up going into the rest of the schedule and that absolutely horrendous end of the year where they're going to play 27 games in 23 days, that's where I think we'll be able to fully make the judgment calls.
Jordan, let me ask you, speaking of those trades, one of them was the Yelich move, and one of the guys that they got in that Yelich move was on the mound yesterday. I can't say I've seen anything that convinces me about Yamamoto yet. Maybe more seasoning down the line, and maybe he can convince me. But, man, that ball did not have any movement yesterday, dude. They were like direct shots, and it seemed like for guys like that you've got at the plate, it seemed like you were throwing a big-ass, softball at them, the way that ball did not move at all. I can't say that I'm impressed with Yamamoto so far.
Yeah, it was a really rough outing for him. I mean, everything felt like it was either a home run or just inches away from being a home run. It's been ever since, his first 4 or 5 starts were really good, but then teams start figuring out who he was. I mean, he's a guy who has to rely on his command, has to rely on his sequencing, and if he has one slip-up, he's going to get exposed. He doesn't have that 96, 97, 98 mile-an-hour fastball that can just blow past people. If he's not completely on point and completely precise with how he's pitching every single pitch, I don't know realistically how long he'll end up being in the rotation. Obviously, he was in that battle for the number 5 spot with Eliezer Hernandez going into the year, but when you see the waves of arms that the Marlins have down there, with Sixto more than likely being up at some point, whether it's the end of this year or the start of 2021, Edward Cabrera at some point, you got Max Meyer, you got Braxton Gary, you got Trevor Rogers. There are a lot of guys who are going to be nipping at his heel very, very soon if he doesn't figure it out and start putting some consistent outings out there.
He actually looks like reliever material to me. Really, I'm serious. That's when I see that arm, I'm looking. Okay, this is a guy that throws you like you're facing a hard throwing pitcher for 6 innings. And you whip this guy out in the 7th to kind of throw you off a little bit, and then you move on to the 8th with the 8th inning guy as a setup guy. That's what Yamamoto looks to me like. He looks like a middle relief guy, a setup guy.
Yeah, I can definitely see that long term. I can see them moving him there. The problem for the Marlins right now is with the way the roster's constructed, they really don't have starters right now. Right. I mean, they lost 3 of their 5 due to everything going on with COVID. Their starters right now, they have Pablo Lopez, Eliezer Hernandez, and Jordan Yamamoto. That's really it when you look at it. I mean, George Guzman, I can see him, if he figures things out, he could potentially be a two-inning opener type guy. They did that with Josh A. Smith, the second game of the doubleheader. Sterling Sharp and Stephen Tarpley both started in the minors. So they have guys they can use, but you don't really have anyone who has actually done it up here outside of those 3. And of those 3, Pablo's been fantastic in summer camp, but the other 2 were fighting to be the number 5 guy.
Right.
So that's really where the team is handcuffed right now, especially for the rest of this road trip. Considering you only have the guys who are on the roster and the guys who are on the taxi squad. And the taxi squad's all relievers with the exception of Humberto Mejia, who hasn't pitched above high A. So it's going to be a challenge, to say the least, to see how they maneuver, at the very least, the first 2 games against the Mets, to see what they do for the 4 and 5 spot before turning back to Pablo.
Well, is it Alcantara tonight, right?
Oh, Alcantara's on the IL.
Oh, IL. So who is it tonight? Because we don't
have a starter yet.
Okay, because they had Alcantara on ESPN. I'm like, okay, so did he clear something that I don't know about, or I'm like,
No,
what the hell is
unless
going on?
something has surfaced. No, Sandy, Caleb, and Jose Urania are all on the IL.
Okay.
All the first 3 guys were over the year.
Yeah, so I'm wondering, like, okay, so who the hell's starting tonight? Because they like ESPN had Alcantara, and I'm like, what the is there something I don't know? Or with today's COVID stuff going on, I have no idea when these guys are getting cleared or not, and it was just weird to see those names. But I said, okay, well, maybe they know something I don't know. So you don't even know who the starter is yet. So they haven't even announced it?
No, they haven't announced it. Mattingly said pregame yesterday that everything was going to be TBD. They're still trying to maneuver things around because, again, they only have 3 starters, and all 3 of them pitched Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So unless they were throwing Pablo out there on 2 days rest, which should not be happening considering the arm injury, the arm problems he's had each of the last 2 years, they're more than likely going to have to do a bullpen day, at least one of these 2, and unless they try to throw Sterling Sharp or Steven Tarpley out there for 3 or 4 innings to start the game.
Yeah, that's it. Really is an amazing story how they're able to just survive and be 6-1 at this point. And I got to tell you something, Jordan. Brian Anderson he's my favorite Marlin to watch, dude. He just plays the game the right way. I love watching that guy play.
I completely agree with you. I mean, he was heading into this year. Obviously, he had everything that happened with the hit by pitch that fractured the hand that stopped his season last year a month early. But he was really, really good last year, and I was really interested to see how he would translate that into year 3. He had a couple bumps in the road early on as he was getting his timing back between missing a month and going to rehab over the offseason to then having 4 months off with everything with the shutdown for the season. But now that he's turned it on, and I also think the Marlins moving him down to the 5 hole instead of being 2 in the lineup, that eased some of the pressure off him. That made him feel a little bit more confident back there, knowing that he has a few more hairs in front of him. He doesn't have to be that guy who automatically moves VR over when VR's in the leadoff spot and gets on base. He's able to just be him. And when Brian Anderson's able to be himself, you're going to see a lot of drives into the gap. You're going to see more doubles, more consistent contact. You're going to see a guy who Marlins need to find a way to keep long-term if they can.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there. He's I was saying earlier that he's the guy that if you're sitting there with your kid watching the game, you're going, look, watch that guy. That's how you want to play this game. That's the way I look at Brian Anderson. By the way, you can follow Jordan on Twitter like I and so many others do at J_McPherson1126. Hey, before I let you go, Jordan, what's been the talk of the guys after the COVID, scare there and it ripped up the locker room? What's changed for them? How much more paranoid do you see them now in the locker room? Because I always feel like a lot of people in the country, the ones that don't take it nearly as serious, it's because they haven't experienced it yet or somebody close to them. And I would imagine that once you've gone through that experience, something changes about you. What has changed with those guys?
No, they definitely took it as a wake-up call. Obviously, when they saw how quickly it spread from 1 to 4 to 13 to 17, all the way up to the 20 that ended up being, it took them as a wake-up call. Them having to basically isolate and basically be in their hotel room for 8 days for 23 and a half hours out of the day, for them worrying about their teammates and hoping that they're okay. They seem to be. They're taking this seriously. They're taking it. They're not taking anything for granted. The second opportunity, this chance they'll be on the field. You can see them. You can see more masked pregame. You can see, at least from the first couple of days when I was at the ballpark in Baltimore, when I was there early enough for BP and warm-ups and everything, they were staggering some of the workouts, staggering some of the stretching, which they didn't do in Philadelphia. You could see more masks. You could see how all of their celebrations are contact-free. You can see that they're trying to do all those little things that they maybe didn't think about beforehand. You can tell they're focusing on it. They're focusing on it and trying to pay more attention to it now.
Well, as we're talking, Friday's series opener between the Cubs and the Cardinals now has been postponed. At least one more positive COVID-19 test in the St. Louis clubhouse has been confirmed. The Cardinals have not played since the 29th of July due to the positive corona test. The team previously announced it had returned 13 positive tests from its traveling party, with 7 of them coming from players. St. Louis had returned to the field for light workouts Wednesday. The Athletic first reported Friday's game has been postponed. So this continues. And Jordan, the problem is, you know how in the NFL they go back and they mortgage money from the future to pay for contracts now. But it's kind of like a credit card that eventually you're going to have to pay the Pied Piper and you'll have the dead money, and that'll be money you won't be able to use down the line. And so that's what's going on here. They keep ringing up on this credit card a bunch of games. And you said it in our conversation, 27 games in 23 days. That's with no more COVID, tests, positives from here on out. If you have more and you have more delays, it gets to a point where a lot of these teams will not be able to make up these games. And I don't know this whole thing about, well, you're going to get in by winning percentage. Well, dude, what if you haven't played a lot of games, but yet your percentage is really good? You're taking advantage of the situation too.
Yeah, definitely. And also, it's not just COVID. I mean, we're in the summer. Weather is going to impact some of these games too. So, I mean, you just have to think about these little things that you, in a normal season, you would have contingency plans for. And now, all of a sudden, right now is the farthest thing from anyone's mind as they try to make up all the tests lost to COVID.
Right.
So you're going to, this schedule, there's no way the schedule is going to stay set in stone just based off of everything that normally goes on in a regular season. So there's going to be, I'm really intrigued to see how all this is actually going to pan out. Because, I mean, especially just going from the Marlins side of it. Again, like I said, 27 games in the final 23 days, 4 doubleheaders in a 10-day stretch. They played the Philadelphia Phillies 7 times in they played a 5-day, 7-game series against the Philadelphia Phillies at one point in this. It's getting to the point where, again, yes, you're going to want everyone to get as close to the chance to get playoff 60 games as possible. And yes, money ultimately does talk. But you also have to think about logistically and from a health standpoint of the players, just from an injury standpoint, how much sense does this really make to add all of this onto the back end just to try to say, hey, we're making sure you play 60 games?
Well, I don't envy you because I've been the baseball beat guy in radio. I don't envy you on that doubleheader night that there's a whole bunch of rain delays. Oh, Lord. Even if it's 7 innings. Although I will tell you this, the other night on the doubleheader, I completely forgot in the second game that it was 7 innings. And when they got the third out, I was like, all right, we got 2 more innings. But then I hear the announcer, all right, that's the game. I'm like, that's right, it's 7 innings. Yeah. So it's one of those where you had to get used to it, man. It's crazy stuff.
I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. When we got into the 5th inning of the first inning of the doubleheader, I looked at my game story and went, oh, crap, I have 2 innings on. I need to start writing. Yes. It took me by complete surprise. Even though I knew what was going on, I marked on my scorecard to stop at the end of the 7th inning just as an extra precaution. I still didn't follow myself with that.
That's awesome.
So once we got to the bottom of the 5th and they did the 5th inning stretch, I went, oh, crap, there's only an inning and a half left. Let's get going.
That is awesome. Follow him on Twitter, J_McPherson1126. Catch his exceptional work covering your red-hot Miami Marlins every single day. Jordan, as always, you're a stud, my brother. Thank you for taking some time, man. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. Always great to be with you, Big O.
You got it. Thank you. There you go, man. Jordan McPherson. Good stuff there with Jordan. Always enjoy it. And now that Cardinals Cubs series postponed now due to a COVID positive. Wow, and they thought they were going to get back on the field. Now that's 3 more games that the Cardinals miss out on that they've got to make. And those are both playoff caliber teams, both the Cubs and the Cardinals. So, I mean, it just this becomes.
I believe the Cubs have the best record in the National League right now.
Yes, they do.
And the Cardinals were projected exactly like you said. Yeah,
not the best winning percentage in the National League.
You did not say that.
Only one team owns that luxury in the entire majors. Okay? Cookie Vice gives us a little super chat love. Thank you, Cookie Vice. He says, have a great weekend. Thank you, Cookie Vice. Also, Jesse Minneapolis with a super chat. Jesse says, oh, congrats on the gig. Just don't put us on the extreme back burner. You guys, listen, I will not put the show on the back burner at all. We will do this show. We will get it done. I promise you, I'm going to do my best to do everything that we normally do. I just may have to move it around a little bit at times, okay? That will happen, unfortunately. But yeah, I got to make a living, man. You know, so yeah, that's we'll definitely do it. But we've built this up now. We got to keep it going. You know, I'm not going to put almost a year of work in this and a lot of effort that Bill and I have put into this, and then all of a sudden we're just going to leave it on the wayside there. And you know, we've got a lot of people that are listening and following, and we appreciate it. And so I think we can build it even more is what I think we can do. Ronald says, Big O, if you go to Butler, which I hope I could in 2 weeks, I don't know. It's kind of a crazy thing. We'll see. He says, a second looping in Lancaster, Hershey, and Gettysburg, and Philadelphia are also great places to visit. I was born and lived 22 years in Pennsylvania. I've been to Hershey, and I've been to Philadelphia many times to Philadelphia. Been to Hershey also myself because I went to Hershey Park and everything.
Twice for me.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'll be doing a lot of touristy stuff if I go. You know what I'm saying? Maybe on the Saturday I could do some touristy stuff.
You ever done Gettysburg?
No, I have not.
Absolutely amazing, bro.
Yeah, but I may not be
incredible.
It may not be able to be done now during a pandemic. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how it is right now. But
I'm just saying that, like, it's
No,
sometime in your life. You need to go to
definitely.
Arlington Cemetery and Gettysburg. Those two places, if you don't get goosebumps, if you don't feel it, you're not an American, bro.
No, I'm with you. I feel you. Brett Spence says, Big O, this season just proves Michael Hill was handcuffed, which we asked Jordan. Thank you for sending it in. Super V says, Big O, you should start a petition for drive-ins in South Florida to set up this kind of entertainment display. Yeah, we should. We should do something, bro.
I am sorry, but we got to stop right
yeah.
now.
Yes.
Shift gears. Next sport. Soccer's up.
That's right. Football.
Inter Miami.
Football and the MLS tournament is going on right now. The finals are set. Michelle Kaufman covers the MLS, covers Inter Miami for the Miami Herald, and she joins us next.
It's a buyer's market at Toyota of Hollywood. Over 1,500 Toyotas on the ground, and truckloads just keep on coming. Now pay up to 50% less. 2020 Camry, not $29,000, $17,775. 2020 Corolla, not $22,000, $13,775. Buy a new 2020 Toyota with 0 down and 0% financing, or we'll make your payments till 2021 at Toyota of Hollywood, the #1 volume Toyota dealer on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street.
Are you tired of watching the same old travel videos on the internet? Well, then check out MikeNoGoZones.com, a travel documentary that's breaking barriers. I go to the places that the media tells you to fear, where no one else dares to go. Baltimore, Opelika, South Side of Chicago, and more. Go to MikeNoGoZones.com.
America's safest and best-selling compact luxury SUV is at Acura of Pembroke Pines, and this is how we do it. RDX, $339 a month at Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
We promised you we're going to switch gears, talk a little football, and of course, Michelle Kaufman does an excellent job of covering Inter Miami and the MLS for the Miami Herald. Follow her on Twitter at Kauf Sports. Michelle, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Very good. What'd you think of the games the last couple of nights? I thought Philadelphia got screwed, by the way. I thought it should have been 2-2 at that moment.
Yeah.
That offsides was so... I thought it was a brilliant pass, actually. I thought it was a brilliant play by the two guys, and I felt so bad for Philadelphia and for the fan like me because it would have added a lot of drama to the end of that game, which had a lot of drama at the end of that game.
Yeah. No, there were a lot of good games. I like Philadelphia. I mean, that's a team that didn't really get much attention, and they played very, very well this whole tournament. And having a local guy, Alejandro Bedoya, being such a big part of that team, I've always sort of felt like, for people down here that they should be rooting for, now that Miami has a team, obviously, but before that, Philly's a very good team, very good team. The coach is very good. I was very impressed with him, Jim Curtin. And Bedoya is a great, great team leader. He's a great captain. He's from here. He played at Weston FC, and, he went to St. Thomas Aquinas, so he's our true local player who's really made it.
Yeah, and by the way, Philadelphia lasted long, and Orlando made it to the finals. Those are two teams that were in the group with Miami too. So it
goes to show that Miami was in a tough group, and Miami played Orlando very, very close. I mean, that game could have gone either way. You remember that's the game with the injury, with Rose was taken off the field on a stretcher, and everything changed after that. And that game really could have gone either way, and Orlando is playing outstanding. I mean, they're in the final. Nobody would have picked that. Nobody would have picked Orlando and Portland to be in the final.
No, not at all. But you know how important this is for Orlando because they have not been able to bust through and get into the playoffs since they got into the league a few years back. And Nani put on a show yesterday. I mean, that second goal was just...
Oh, he's very good. I mean, I think he probably should get MVP for the tournament. I know there are other people deserving too, but he's had an outstanding tournament. And they have a new coach also, who apparently has made a big difference. And they're home. I mean, even though it's not really home, but that is their home city. They are playing in their home city, in their home climate. In a place that they're familiar with. So even though they're not really home, they have it, and there aren't any fans. I think there's a tiny bit of a home field advantage for them.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a good moment for the franchise because they kind of needed some success, and maybe that even helps them now when the regular season starts. As for Miami, so what is the latest with our beloved Inter Miami? Do we have any transfer rumors going?
Yeah, there definitely are rumors. There definitely are. I am hearing that they do hope to sign a player or maybe even two next week. The transfer window, the MLS transfer window, opens August 12th. That's next Wednesday. So, if there's going to be any news, it's going to be around there. They have been working very hard, talking to players in Europe and in South America. From what I'm hearing, they are hoping to sign a new, an attacking type player. And it could be next week when the transfer window opens. I know that Paul McDonough has said all along that he wanted to add two more pieces to the roster, two important pieces, significant, designated player type player or players before the season resumes. And the season, they're going to announce tomorrow. It was going to be today. Now they're going to announce tomorrow. MLS is announcing the schedule for the rest of the season. But the word is that the regular season is going to resume in markets on the weekend of August 21st, which is in 2 weeks. Dallas and Nashville are going to play before that. If you recall, those are the two teams that went home from the bubble because they both arrived infected. So they didn't get to play in the tournament, so they have to make up those 3 games that they missed. So I hear that they are going to play, this over the next 10 days, they're going to play 2 games against each other in a neutral location. And then the regular season will resume on August 21st, and I believe in Miami may be playing a home game that weekend. Its first official home game. The other and the way it's going to work, again, from what I'm hearing, none of this is set in stone until they announce it. But I am hearing that for the first phase of the season, it's going to be a regional games so that they don't have to travel far, and that they may even play those teams twice. The teams that I believe would be in Miami's little grouping would be Atlanta and Orlando and Nashville, is what I think. And so, again, not an easy out with Orlando. We've already seen that they're making the final of this, and they're going to be on a major roll. And then Atlanta is Atlanta. That's a very good team. And then Nashville, I believe, may be in their grouping as well. So the idea is they want teams to be able, in the Northeast and in the Northwest, their Pacific Northwest, a lot of the teams can drive to, they can drive between New York, Philly, the teams in the Northeast can drive to each other. Some of the teams in the Midwest can drive to each other. They want the teams to use only private planes or buses to get to this first phase of games. While we're waiting for the numbers to drop of COVID, they're trying to be careful with how far these people are traveling, and they don't even want them to stay overnight. If possible, they want them to drive to the game or fly to the game and go back the next night, or have only one night on the road, maximum. So I think at the beginning, Miami will have some games at home, and the farthest that they would travel, I think, would be Atlanta, Orlando, and maybe Nashville. Then in October, there will be a second phase, quote unquote, of the season where they would travel a little bit farther. And then the playoffs would be in November, and the MLS Cup would be in mid-December. The other news about this is that the commissioner said the other night on national TV that some of the markets are going to allow fans. Each market is going to determine based on where they are with COVID and what their city and county and health officials say. But some markets are going to allow a limited number of fans to attend games. I have not heard anything about here. We are obviously still in a hot spot of a state, so I'm not sure that Fort Lauderdale is going to be ready to accept fans right now. But maybe at some point later in the season, there's a possibility that a limited number of fans would be able to go with very strict protocols and spacing and all that. But they are talking about some fan attendance at games going forward.
Well, I mean, if it's up to the Atlanta governor, I mean, they'll have the 70,000 stadium without masks.
Oh, yeah, well, that's true, yeah.
Without masks. Without masks.
Right.
The Atlanta mayor will require masks, but the governor will sue her and then enforce it without masks, kind of like what they're doing in the schools now, which was interesting this week here in Georgia.
Yeah, I saw that about the Georgia school, yeah.
They suspended.
But yeah, so I mean,
and by the way, they suspended
the girl. I know, but I bet she'll get to come back. She's got lawyers, so they don't really have a good case for suspending her.
No, they don't. Oh, they don't. She's actually doing something very American, by the way, trying to keep people safe. So she's actually doing something really. She's actually the only responsible person out of that whole situation, which is the crazy part about all that. Okay, so is it a way, because you hear Brady now and Tampa, they're trying to create their own bubble, which is something that I talked about, that I thought NFL teams should have 32 bubbles, like, every team
you just stay in a hotel, stay in a hotel and just go to practice.
So is the MLS, it kind of sounds in a way what you were describing. The MLS is trying to also say, okay, guys, when we leave this bubble, we need to control everybody's, individual environment as much as possible. It sounds like you're describing some kind of fashion of that. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, they definitely. Yeah, I mean, Commissioner Garber said that they learned a lot in this bubble. Since July 12th, they've done, I believe it's 9,500 tests within the bubble and had 0 positives out of 9,500 tests. So the bubble definitely worked. Once the 2 infected teams left, there has not been a single positive test. But they have been basically, quarantined. I mean, they're only amongst themselves at the hotel, and then they take their own bus to go to the facility, and everybody is within that bubble. When they leave the bubble, they're going to go back to their home markets. They're going to be with their families again and friends, whatever. They still are testing every other day. Inter Miami has been tested every other day since they dropped out of the tournament. All the MLS teams in the bubble or out of the bubble were required to be testing every 48 hours. And then, going forward, they want these teams to stay as isolated as they possibly can. They're not going to do multiple city road trips. They really don't want them to travel far. Like I said, for the Orlando game, I guarantee you they're going to drive, and I'm not sure maybe in Atlanta. They want the teams to either take a private plane or drive to the first round of games, and they made them all regional. So, it'll be like Seattle, Portland, and San Jose. We'll play a little round-robin-y type of thing over there, and the Southeast teams will play each other. The Northeast teams will play each other. The Midwest teams will play each other. And then their hope is that by October, if things are a little better, that they can expand the travel a little bit farther. So they're kind of doing it in phases. It's kind of like a phase 1, phase 2, and the same with fans. Each market is very different. There are some markets where it would be fine to have a certain number of fans, and there are other markets where they're not going to do that. The majority are not. He did say the majority of the cities are probably not going to have fans, but there are some cities where they might do a limited number of season ticket holders would be able to get tickets or whatever. So, we'll see going forward what happens. As far as the potential players to come here, I think when I spoke to you last time, I spoke to you about Willian, the Brazilian guy, who was on Chelsea, and there were all these talks about him, that Miami offered him a very lucrative contract. But the latest thing I heard is that he's going to Arsenal, that he got some big deal from Arsenal, and I read somewhere that his agent is also kind of plugged in with Arsenal, so it doesn't surprise me, but I think he may be ending up there. David Silva, that we talked about from Manchester City, has also been rumored to be coming here for a long time, but other teams are involved, and now the latest thing I'm hearing from him is that Lazio in Italy is offering him a private plane, some kind of fancy villa, and a huge salary. So don't be surprised unless David Beckham and Jorge Mas are going to come up with a private plane and a villa. I don't know that they're getting David Silva. What I am hearing, the name I'm hearing is Arturo Vidal, who plays for Barcelona. He's a midfielder, Chilean national team player for a long time. He's played for Leverkusen, Juventus, Bayern Munich, and Barcelona. So he's played on all the big teams. He's played in 2 World Cups with Chile. I think they're looking to shop him around, and he would be open to that. And I heard that Miami has been in talks with him. Another guy that's been mentioned for a long time is not over in Europe. It's a young player, but a guy with Boca Juniors named Agustin Almendra. He has been back in February. Jorge Mas said we are very close to signing Almendra. It's just a matter of a couple of weeks. And then COVID came and everything went down the drain. He's 20 years old. He's being looked at by some really big clubs in Europe too. So I think what they want to do is get one veteran player from Europe, and then maybe an Agustin Almendra type guy, very talented young player from South America to fill a second spot. So that's what I'm hearing. They say that they're determined to sign somebody. They're hoping to sign somebody next week when the MLS transfer window opens August 12th. So we'll see what happens. And also Robbie Robinson is still MIA. The number one draft pick of the entire MLS draft, who played very well the first 2 games, started the first 2 games, plays forward, a position where they're struggling.
I like it.
And he left the bubble on July 6th for personal reasons to go back home to South Carolina to be with his parents, and he has not returned yet. So they're still missing him as well. So, up front, up top, they really do need to improve up there, and I think they need to improve by signing 1 or 2 new players.
I'm sure it's going to end up happening. Moss is too driven to win. He's just not going to sit around and watch his team not be in the spotlight. So that's the,
right.
That's the
no,
thing.
Paul McDonough too. Right.
Yeah, but you and I have been around sports long enough. It starts with the dude at the top. If the dude at the top doesn't want to win, you're not going to win. But I'm telling you, because I've been around the man. He's cutthroat.
He's cutthroat, and he hasn't gotten to where he is. Yeah, he's maniacal. He is
maniacal about winning. And if you're an Inter Miami fan, that's what you want to hear. That your owner wants to win so badly. It kills him, okay?
Yeah. It does, and I think
I want every Inter Miami fan to know that however you feel after a loss is a fraction of what Jorge Mas and his brother feels after losses, okay?
Yeah.
Those guys, I'm telling you, those guys want to win badly, and they will build a winner here. Trust me, they will build a winner
No. They want to win badly, and to the point that I think Jorge maybe had unrealistic expectations at the beginning of. He aimed very, very, very high.
Yeah.
I think some people around the league probably raised their eyebrows because he was talking about some of the biggest names in the game potentially coming here. And, I think he really believed it. I really do.
Oh, yeah?
He's never been a sports owner before. And, he's done an incredible job in the business that he's in. Sports, as you know, is very different. These athletes and their agents use people to get better deals from where they are or from another team that they really want to go to. And, he really had never dealt in the sports world before. It's a very different world. Not that there isn't all that kind of negotiating going on in the real business, the other kind of business world, but I think sports is different. And he really aimed very, very, very high, as did David Beckham. And I think they're seeing that these guys that they're reaching out to, they're having serious conversations with them. The players act like they're interested. The agent acts like they're interested. And then at the end of the day, some European team comes in and swoops in with a private plane or a salary that's out of the range of what they can pay here, and they end up, staying there. So it's been a very difficult task for them. Right now in the league, there really aren't that many huge name players right now. If you think about it, the league is, the Mexican players are coming over and they're going young.
They're going young,
they're going young, and they're going to Mexico.
And I got to tell you, Michelle, that's the smartest thing this league has done. That they're going young, and they're trying. Like Matias is our guy. They're trying. They're trying to find their young guys to develop.
Right.
And that's instead of the retirement league that we've been for so long. The business model is changing and has been changing and has been evolving. And I think it's really smart on their part now with their investment in young players, because eventually that will pay off. Some of these guys will turn into real stars, and you either keep them or you sell them for a whole lot of money, and that really helps your league out too.
Right. Well, that's why this Almendra guy, Jorge Mas, is in love with him. When I talked to him in February, he was like, "Oh my God, he said we're so close. We're just like he just has to pass his physical." It was like they were very close to signing this guy, and he's 20 years old. He was 19 at the time. He's now become 20, but he's still very young. He's at Boca Juniors, and he's gotten interest from some of the biggest teams in Spain and in England. He's apparently a really rising star in South America and Argentina. He's on their youth national teams. He's a guy that's probably going to end up on the Argentine national team. And, they want to scoop him up now while he's still affordable. So that's one that I know that they have been talking to since February and trying to close that deal. And that's the kind of guy that you're talking about, a guy who could come over here, play really well, make a name for himself, and they sell him off to a team in Europe if he wants to go there, and they get a lot of money for him, and then they have more money to buy more players, So that's definitely the Paul McDonough way. Paul McDonough, the GM here, that's his MO, that's his method, that's how he does it, and I think he wants to do the same thing here. So we'll see. But next week Wednesday is when the transfer window opens. So I think that is when you're going to start seeing movement among players into MLS is going to be next Wednesday. And then the season will start up again the following week.
Follow her on Twitter at Kauf Sports. More importantly, subscribe to the Miami Herald like I do. Support local journalism, please. They do a great job.
Yes, thank you, because we just got a new owner. And it's a hedge fund. And we're all very nervous because when a hedge fund takes over your business, It's mainly about dollars and cents. And so we have been, at the Miami Herald, the reporters have been working very, very hard to try to let this company know that, we are not just an asset. In fact, they had the staff members sent postcards. They made like these actual postcards that said we are not just an asset, and reporters wrote personal messages to the new ownership like, hey, we've been here for 117 years, watching over the local government, writing about this community, caring about this community, and we want to keep doing that. And, we're not just an asset. They even sent them a big batch of Café Bustelo and some other things that are, very like typical Miami to sort of personalize the sale a little bit because, we fear that it's just, sitting in a boardroom crunching numbers.
Gordon Gekko.
And we want them.
Gordon Gekko.
Huh?
Gordon Gekko.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we want them to know, and I don't know if it'll make a difference, but we're trying to just let them know, like, hey, we're people down here. We care about this community deeply. We have been covering this community, winning Pulitzer Prizes, doing investigative journalism, covering sports, covering the entertainment, everything, the growth of the city, architecture, building, whatever, every part of this community, schools. You're not going to get it from anywhere else. I mean, no offense to all the other social media and things out there. You still need real journalists doing real journalism.
Amen.
And, so yes, please subscribe. By the way, if you just want to do a sports subscription only, if you don't care about the other sections, which you should, but if you don't, if sports is what you really care about, for $30 a year, you can get unlimited sports coverage in the Miami Herald online. You can get a full online subscription for all of our sports coverage for $30 a year, which is 8 cents per day.
It's a joke. It's a joke. It really is. It is. It's a joke.
Yeah.
I subscribe to the whole paper, but and it's not expensive either, and it's well worth it, and they do a fantastic job. And as you just heard, Jordan McPherson before, Michelle, and now Michelle. So two excellent people covering our local sports. Michelle, as always, you are a goddess. Thank you for taking time. Always appreciate it. Stay safe.
Yeah, let's talk next week. And next week, let's see if they've made some deals or whatever.
Yeah, maybe we'll talk on Wednesday because they signed somebody. Who knows?
Okay.
All
right. We'll be in touch. Take care. Bye-bye.
The great Michelle Kaufman. And I'm serious. Subscribe, man. I subscribe to the local papers because, you got to do your part, man. And this business it's getting worse and worse by the day. He's been a short time in this business, but he's already seen it in a short time how it crumbles all over the place and what they do to these riders. And it's just, look what happened with the Athletic, man. There's like one guy left locally in Manny. And now they just hired Josh Tolentino now to cover the Dolphins for the Athletic. But he was already in the Athletic, and they kind of moved him to the beat. So it was just somebody in-house already. It wasn't like they were expanding or anything like that. So it's a real shame, man. It's a real shame what's going on.
Well, my parents have had a subscription to the Herald since I was a little kid, 4 or 5 years old, whatever. 45 years. Man, yesterday my mom could not stop talking about the fact that a hedge fund had bought the Herald.
Oh, yeah.
She was pissed.
Of course, because you know what's coming next.
Oh, yeah, man.
Because you know what's coming next. And that's, you can hear it in Michelle's voice, And her and her husband have been working for the Herald forever, man. And they've grown with us, Dave Barry and Michelle Kaufman's faces were bright young faces when they started there.
Back in the day on Sunday,
they've been at this for 30 years, both of them. 20, I think Michelle in the 20s, and maybe Dave is probably at 30 already with the Miami Herald, man.
Back in the day, man, that was one of the highlights of Sunday, getting the Tropic and going to the Dave Barry.
Always.
Laugh your ass off.
Right. Dave Barry, Edwin Pope, Carl Hyacin. There were some guys that you had to like, those were they were the money people that you went to, you know what I mean? And so yeah, definitely. I'm with you there. Let me give you a couple of other notes here that I wanted to talk about. I love talking about my music. First of all, let me give you a little music history. We always love going over. Panthers, by the way, in the second intermission are losing 3-1 Okay, unfortunately, but it is what it is. What are you going to
Fat
do?
lady is about to start singing.
Yes, they are. 1970 on this date, Fleetwood Mac welcomed a new member, Christine McVie, the wife of bass player John McVie, to the band. On this date in 1974, Jay Giles' band singer Peter Wolf married actress Faye Dunaway. They would divorce 5 years later. I did not know that Peter Wolf was married to Faye Dunaway. I didn't know that. I had no idea that. When I saw it, I go,
When you picture that, did that go together?
no.
Thank you.
Peter Wolf and Faye Dunaway in 1974? It's like, wow.
Faye in her younger.
Oh.
She was
Good-looking woman,
no,
bro.
but she was also very out there. Okay.
But still,
You know?
good-looking woman. 1976, Elton John and Kiki D had the number one song in America and in the UK with Don't Go Breaking My Heart. All right? 3 members of Oasis in 2002 on this date were injured when a taxi they were riding in crashed while the band was in Indianapolis to do their U.S. tour. Who the hell takes a taxi in Indy? You're supposed to get a hotel right there in downtown. Anyway, Noel Gallagher, Andy Bell, and Jade Darlington all went to the hospital to get treated for cuts and bruises. Their concert that night was of course, called off. Fleetwood Mac began a 5-week run at the top of the charts in 1982 on this date with their album Mirage. And I always love Hold Me, that song, because they're in the desert. And Stevie Nicks is in this lace black dress laying out on that couch with all the mirrors stabbed into the desert. Just hot. That's just hot.
I love surreal art, and that was all about that.
Hot. It's just hot. I tell you, Stevie Nicks is hot.
No, tell us one more time.
Just want to mention that she is hot. Okay?
You're not saying was.
On this date in 1958, I know it was, but still, still hot. 1958 on this date, Iron Maiden and Samson singer Bruce Dickinson was born, one of the greatest metal singers of all time. Okay, those are some of the news and notes in music history. Also, just to give you guys a heads up, Shinedown. Are you a Shinedown fan? They're pretty good, right?
Yes,
I like
Shinedown. Yep.
Shinedown will be releasing Shinedown Live in London, a free, full-length live concert video on YouTube from their 2019 show in London, and it'll be noon tomorrow, August 7th. Okay? So there you go. Earlier this year, in response to COVID-19 pandemic, Shinedown raised more than $300,000 by releasing Atlas Falls, a never-before-heard song from their vault available with a T-shirt and a song bundle with all proceeds going to humanitarian aid organization Direct Relief. The charity is one of the largest providers of humanitarian medical resources in the world that is working to provide personal protective equipment to frontline health workers, essential medications, and supplies for patients. So, watch the live stream of Shinedown tomorrow starting at noon. Okay?
Didn't we see them in Pompano Beach?
Yes, we did.
I thought so.
Yes, we did. We saw them with
a bunch.
It was 3 bands. It was Shinedown, it was Collective Soul, and it was Mr. Jones and me. Wasn't it Counting Crows? Weren't they the opener? Was it Counting Crows, Shinedown, and then Collective Soul? Was that the order?
Man. I've never seen I can't count Counting
So
Crows.
was it,
maybe they opened and we were late.
No, I saw Counting Crows with Shinedown. It was at Joe Robbie. I'm sorry, my bad, or Hard Rock Stadium. The one you're talking about was Collective Soul, was Shinedown, and the third band, I think it was Goo Goo Dolls. I think they were the headliner.
Or was it Deftones?
No.
It wasn't Deftones?
No, it wasn't Deftones. I want to say it was the Goo Goo Dolls.
I don't.
And wasn't it Bayfront?
No, I've seen the Goo Goo Dolls that one time.
Or was it Pompano?
No.
Are you talking about Pompano or Bayfront?
I'm talking Pompano when we saw Shinedown and.
I'm pretty sure Collective Soul was with them.
That I can say yes. There was like, I want to say
maybe somebody else was there.
And there was like 6 or 7 bands actually that night, and everybody did a few songs.
Okay.
Is what I want to say. Last time I saw Goo Goo was when they opened up for Sheryl Crow way back in the day.
Okay.
I haven't seen them since, which pretty sad statement there.
Remember that more than 90% of deaths are in Democratic states and cities. Californians are on lockdown cases and spreading. Leo, listen, bro. Go stick to politics where the sun don't shine, bro. Okay? This is a Republican state, and so is Texas. And we're leading in deaths, along with California. Bro, I don't play politics, okay? Because you're a little Republican, and you just want to pick on Democrats, or you pathetic Democrats that just want to pick on Republicans. You're both all screwed up, okay? Leo, the fact that your little nuts haven't dropped and you don't want to be honest about your own party, that's not my problem, bro. It's not my problem, okay? When your nuts drop, then maybe you can actually grow up and be objective, okay? Because you got a pathetic governor in this state. So give me a break, dude, okay? It's not just terrible governors in California or in Portland, pathetic mayors or pathetic Democratic mayors in Seattle. They're all over. Bad politics are all over the place. Okay? So I get it, dude. You got no balls to actually admit when your side is wrong. I get it. But that's why you don't count in my eyes, because you're not objective. You're just as bad as CNN and Fox with your slanted ways. Super Boom Shack says Collective Soul has a bunch of good songs. Yeah, I love Collective Soul. I'm with you.
Are you stopping? I'm sorry, but are you stopping? Because people are getting excited. You were ripping somebody. You haven't ripped anybody all week, man.
I know. But
come on.
It just is somebody.
I know.
It's just, come on, dude.
There's a couple people out there.
It's only Democratic states.
Bro.
Like Texas and Florida are like 2 of the top every day.
Yes.
Every day.
Yes.
Texas is number 1 every day. They have more deaths than everybody every single day now. It's like, dude, just have some balls,
It's the Big Four:
bro.
Texas, Florida, Georgia, Arizona,
and California. California.
But I'm talking about those, with Republicans.
I know.
It's just they're whatever.
But be objective, dude.
Yes, of course.
Give me a break, bro.
I'm just saying.
Both parties are all screwed
bro,
up.
I'm just saying there are some people that love when you do that. They were hoping you're going to go a little bit longer.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying, but it's just like,
Just trying to have fun here, man. It's Friday. We're, start the weekend off.
This is not the show where we're going to be defending Democrats or Republicans, bro. We're going to call it like it is. I may not like Trump, and I'll say there are certain things that I will agree with him on. Just the way it is. But that's because I'm objective.
Have you seen that?
I'm not like Leo here, who's just a pathetic Republican that can't admit when his side is wrong and doing bad things too.
Have you had a chance to see the Axios interview with Trump?
Oh, dude, that guy tore him apart. Well, because he actually sat down with a real journalist.
Yeah, and I'm surprised he didn't. I thought he was going to get up and walk out.
Oh yeah, well he went to Fox right after.
Of course.
Like a half hour later, he went to Fox to try to fix it all and try to, it's just.
I loved him sticking to the question and him start. I have the biggest numbers ever on Fox TV, and he's like, "That's not what I asked you about, Mr. President. I'm asking you about the health of the country."
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. No, it's all in books. What books? In books, and he couldn't name a book.
Everybody is saying this. Everybody's saying
who's everybody?
Who's everybody?
He never has to, because he gets, Lou Dobbs will suck his ass the entire time, so he won't say anything. Oh, man, it's just too funny. It's like when you watch CNN, that's what I'm telling you. That
it's one side, yeah.
I keep telling you guys this, and you see what's going on radio. Let's forget politics. You see what's going on in sports. I told you guys this a couple days ago. The future of broadcasting is the people that have podcasts, the people that speak the truth, the people that you like, whoever it is, you find them, support them, because radio is all driven by whoever's running it. And they will want you to speak whatever they like. When I was at QAM, you have a program director that will come to you and tell you, do not pick on the teams. You cannot fire people on the air. You know, they don't want you doing that.
So you're a mouthpiece for whatever.
Right, exactly. Because we have a relationship with the teams, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it's all those politics. And if you listen to those shows now, like I've been the only guy in town. I was the only guy 2 years ago saying, fire Tannenbaum, fire Gase, put Chris Greer in place. Nobody was saying that. They all say, oh, no, I'm glad Tannenbaum's gone. After Tannenbaum's gone. They're all glad after Saban's gone that then they say that. You know what I mean? But I'm the only guy that while the coach is in there, I'm saying, can his ass. I'm the only guy that does that because I never played the politics. I didn't care. Now, I never had anybody forcing me to play politics. Not Greg Reed, not Joe Bell, no. But Len Weiner, that wimpy ass, will definitely, he doesn't want you to say anything negative like that about the teams. Nobody can say fire Dale Talon. No one. No one has the balls on 790 or 560 to say, hey, you got to fire Dale Talon. They will fire Dale Talon, I bet you. And you can remember that I'm the only one that said it. Because I'm the only one that doesn't have to play politics because I don't work at 560 or 790. And if I was at 560 or 790, I would still say fire Dale Talon. Okay? And I know the Panther owners. And I'm sure they're probably not very happy with me, but they know me. And you know what's the best part about them? Is that I'll tell them to their face, yo, you need to fire Dale Talon. That's the difference between me and other. And I'm not going to tell you one thing and then when you're off the air and then go on the air and say something else. No, dude. No. I don't play that game. So that's why I'm telling you that the politics are played now on radio more than ever. Take it from somebody that's been in it for 30 years. And that's what's changed. You see it in regular politics, and it's in sports too.
Speaking of which, the Panthers are about to get a power play. 18 minutes left in the third, down 2 goals. They need to score on this power play.
Julius 305 giving us some love on the super chat. Yeah, thank you, Julius 305. Appreciate you, my brother. There we go. Yeah. I like it, Julius 305.
Are we outshot 31-16?
Yeah, 31-16. We've been outshot.
Wow.
Yeah. You think they want it a little bit more than we do? And normally, Bill, when you're trailing, the team that's trailing starts to outshoot you because of the desperation that's going on. Yet they are losing 3-1 and they're outshot 2-1.
But of course.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Have they even had a shot on goal during the power play?
I'm not sure.
We're a minute into the
I'm doing a talk show.
I know.
I'm not sure. Jack Gonzalez says Greg Reed and Joe Bell are the best. I agree. They were phenomenal, dude. I worked for them. I know. I'll go through walls for those kind of guys. You know, I enjoyed working for Pete Bolger back in Paxson Broadcasting. I loved working for Joe Bell and Greg Reed. You know, when I went to 640, James Crystal was in charge, and they had some financial issues. But Jim Hilliard was a man and a half during all those issues. He was right there with me, communicating all the way and assuring me of everything as an employee. And I could only respect that because I've been in situations where the station's having problems and the owner hides, doesn't communicate, steals your money, those kind of things. I've seen that happen. But Jim Hilliard is a guy that I have immense respect for. I've been fortunate. The serious people have been great with me. But usually these are people that have been stand-up with me, too. Wow, what a concept, right? And, these aren't people that tell me one thing and go do something else. That's because that's not how I am, And so that's why I get along great with people that are just honest. That's it. We could deal with mistakes. We can deal with setbacks. We can deal with all kinds of adversity as long as we're honest. But if you're going to dick me around and you're going to lie to me and you're going to tell me one thing and you're going to do something else and you're not going to live up to your word and all that, well, then you're going to lose me quickly. You're going to lose me quickly. You know what I mean? And that's what you have. That's what goes on in that building right now at Intercom. They got a bunch of people that just lie and cover their asses and don't know anything about radio, and it's a bad environment.
Can you say corporate?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you could have a good corporate environment because Sirius has a corporate environment, and it's a good environment. These guys have gone through the pandemic, and they have been brutally honest from the get-go. And all you can do is respect that. I was used all throughout the pandemic, and then towards the back end of the pandemic, they call me and say, oh, man, we love your work, but we got to use our regulars that are under contract more on weekends. So I got to cut your time, man. I'm sorry. Hey, listen, man, I appreciate it. Appreciate the honesty. That's all. Don't tell me one thing. Don't promise me something, and then you can't do it. And, that's the kind of stuff that drives most employees crazy. Ian from Brooklyn, thank you on the super chat. He says, inspired by Leo.
We want information.
Who are you? I'm a go-getter. Who are you? Dumbass material all the way.
I am not.
Dumbass.
I am
super chat. He says, inspired by Leo, a.k.a. Casper. Keep up the ghost work. Work. Big O, thank you. Thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
I had to get in that for Bruce Dickerson's birthday, right?
Yeah, exactly. James Roman goes, oh, you called Tannenbaum's failure from day one. Yes, I did. I was already, nobody does that either on radio. I did that for him and Philbin. If you follow me long enough, when they hired Tannenbaum, I said, this is a disaster. This is a stupid move. This guy doesn't know football. He's an accountant. And sure enough, you know what I mean? And you had people, on my station, let's give it a chance. No, dude, have some balls. Call it like it is, bro. You saw what happened in New York. What's going to change here? And sure enough, nothing changed. But it's just, let's play the fluff game. No, bro, I don't do that. Joe Philbin got hired, and I know I was called a sourpuss. I was called Mr. Negative, all that stuff. Joe Philbin got hired, and I said he's a nobody. Nobody knows him around the league. He won't be able to develop a good assistant coaching staff. I was at 640 at that time. In fact, I remember, if my man Troy Stratford's listening, he actually goes, what do you mean he's not going to be able to put together a coaching staff? And I go, I'm telling you, because he's not known. And people around the league, where do you think I got that line from? I got it from NFL people. It's like, oh, he's been on one team for 16 years. He's leaving that team, and no, he can't take anybody. The coach is not letting him take anybody. So who does he know? And in this league, and that's what I was explained to years ago. Don't ever laugh at the coach that has 8 jobs. There's a reason why he's been on 8 different teams, because they like him, because he's a good coach. That's why he keeps getting work, because he's actually a good coach. And when you then get fired here and hired there and fired here and hired there, you end up working in different systems. You end up working with different people. You end up developing relationships. That's how you learn about other coaches around the league and how they work and what their work ethic is and what their system is and what their scheme is and does it fit what you do and what you like. And so then by the time you become a head coach, you've been in certain areas and different teams and different positions and different levels that now you have a wealth of knowledge of different coaches. And now you can build a coaching staff. But if you were stuck in Green Bay, and again, I was called a hater, I was called all that, but I tried to explain. And if any of you were listening back in those days, you know what I'm saying right now is golden and exactly what I said then. I'm telling you this, and this. And sure enough, that's how it worked out. Joe Philbin could not communicate with players because he wasn't a good head coach. He wasn't head coach material, and he had a terrible staff. Why? Because nobody knew him. Nobody's worked with him. So nobody in town has the balls to go out and say, the Tannenbaum hire was terrible on media. Nobody had the balls to say when they hired Philbin, this will be a disaster. But that's the difference. And that's what you get on regular radio. You'll get the fluff because they don't have the balls to actually say what they're supposed to say because you're not allowed to do that anymore on radio. That's why. Ray Grulong chiming in on a super chat. Howdy, Orlando. Thank you and Bill for the heads up on the Wi-Fi issues in Toyota of Hollywood. Will be a site Monday to check out. I work for the cable company they have. Okay, they'll fix it. I'm not worried about that. Just maybe restart it or something like that.
We'll get it figured out.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
Edison over there is great people, man.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Troy says, "Oh, when I see Tannenbaum on ESPN, I change the channel." Raging Dolphin Maniac says, I thought it was weird that the Finns hired Tannenbaum, who was an agent, not a GM. Exactly. Yep. I'm with you. Cannot even enjoy our one season of Hard Knocks because I had to relive the Philbin era. Ugh. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
You know what was sad during that power play? I think they got more shot on goals on us than we did them.
Oh, yeah.
And we were on the power play.
Yeah. Jack goes, you did the same with the Marlins. Remember, you became a Blue Jays fan. Oh, yeah, when they traded all those players to the Blue Jays? I go, yeah, I'm going to become a Blue Jays fan. I hated Loria. God, I hated Loria with a passion. There was no way I could root for anything Loria.
He had no business being subsidized by Montreal, subsidized by those, ripped them off.
No, and the owners gave him $39 million.
Exactly, a loan down here for Florida.
And he didn't have to pay off the loan because the stipulation in the loan was he had a certain window to get a new stadium. If he didn't get the stadium in that window, he doesn't owe the money. So he never got the stadium during that window, and he didn't have to repay the money. And then he got the stadium years later, and he got $1 billion. I mean, it's just you can't write a book that good.
I don't know if you remember, but back one of the times we were talking, I'd like to know what he has on the MLB for them to just let him do what he did.
Oh, they're
Montreal and then down here.
They're just dumb in the MLB. That's all it is. They're just dumb. There's really no other way to spin it. That's just plain stupidity.
True.
Are you a John Wick fan?
They're all right.
I enjoy the John Wick movies. The third one, I will say, it wasn't as good. Okay? I mean, the fight with Kaufman I really liked. But outside of that, it really wasn't a great movie. But Keanu Reeves is now prepared to go back-to-back on the sequels. John Wick 4 and 5, aiming to film consecutively next year. Lionsgate earning call, the studio CEO, John Faltmeyer, said that we're also busy preparing scripts for the next 2 installments of our John Wick action franchise. John Wick 4 slated to hit theaters Memorial Day weekend 2022. We hope to shoot both John Wick and 4 and 5 back-to-back when Keanu becomes available early next year. The sequel, John Wick 4, is currently scheduled for May 27th, Memorial Day weekend. Wick has become such an action franchise for Lionsgate, not just in the global franchise, but through 3 movies, $584 million But there's a Starz John Wick TV series, The Continental, which is looking to premiere sometime following the fourth movie. Currently, Reeves is shooting Matrix 4 for Warner Brothers and Village Roadshow in Berlin, Germany. Reeves shot Matrix Reload and Revolutions Part 2 and 3 back-to-back from March 2001 to August 2002. So he came up with the third edition of Bill and Ted's. Now he's coming up with the fourth edition of The Matrix. And now he's coming up with the fourth and fifth edition of John Wick. Man, mama, let your babies grow up to be actors and actresses and make sure they come up with a franchise. Wow.
How many times has Fonzie jumped the shark there?
I mean,
like, seriously, man? Wow.
Yeah.
You talk about rebooting, redoing. How about running stuff into the ground?
I know, but
Hollywood.
But people are going, dude.
Oh, please.
You know, but people are watching it. Now, I don't go to the movies to see the.
I was just gonna say you.
I wait till they're on. I don't go to the movies for that.
You're not gonna spend $20.
No, it's got to be Star Wars. It's got to be 007. When I go to the big screen, it's got to be a movie. I love the Wick movies. I got no problem. I watch them. They're entertaining, but I watch them at home is when I watch them. So I wait till they come out then. I mean, nowadays a movie comes out and it's, in the movie things a couple months later.
If Dr. Jones was to come out with a new movie, would you be going to the Indiana Jones movie?
No, not anymore.
Right?
No, I used to, but then that last one with the white skulls, the glass skulls, and all that bogus one. The last one was so bad that it pissed me off, and it reminded me why I rarely go to movies, because then I am pissed off that I spent all this money and the movie sucked, and so I gave up on the Indiana Jones after that last one with it was with Sean Connery. It was his dad and.
No, that's the one that they're going after, the Holy Grail.
Isn't that the?
That was actually a decent one.
Okay, so then it's the whatever, the one with the
one. Yes,
glass,
there was another
skulls,
one. Yes,
those skulls. I thought Sean Connery was in that one. It wasn't that one.
Sean Connery. They're actually after the Holy Grail.
So he was in the fourth one. This is the fifth one that I'm talking about, right? That's what it is. Okay.
And he calls Indy Junior.
Right. Exactly. Remember Keanu's crappy English accent in Dracula? Myron says, I don't go to movies anymore. I enjoy watching them at my crib. I'm with you, man. It's very few movies that I will go to the theater for. It has to be something really, really special.
You got to remember.
The Last Crusade. There you go. Thank you.
Yes.
That's it. The Last Crusade was crappy.
You know how many times it took me watching it to see it all the way through? Because I couldn't do it. I started to watch it, jumped out. Next time I saw it took me 3 tries to get the whole movie.
I've never watched it again. I've never watched, even when I've run into it, I'll skip it because I'll just remember that it sucked so bad. And I was like, wow, this was just a money grab, this damn movie, dude. I hated that movie. I can't stand that movie. I'll watch any of the other Indiana Jones, and especially the first 2 are just awesome. I love those, but
I like the one with Sean Connery because you learn all these little intricacies, like we named the dog Indy.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you're right. I love it. By the way, the Panthers, it's a tight game right now. There's 8 minutes and 43 seconds left in the game, and the Islanders are leading the Panthers only by 3 goals. It's 4-1. So, as you know, the Panthers, they show up in big moments like they normally do. And right now, 4-1, they're showing up in the big moments like they normally do. It's just, please, bro. Not only do you need to fire Dale Talon, you need to break up this team already. Okay? I don't want to hear about the same names anymore coming back. I already know what these guys are collectively, and they're embarrassing. It's like you got to get to a point where you got to give up, bro. The insanity, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and bringing and Barkov being your best player is insanity. Okay? It's like Pizarro. I love him as a player, but I don't love him in the role they have him in Inter right now because he has to be the dog, and that's not who he is. He's the guy that plays off the dog. And Inter has to go find the dog. And so you got people out of place. Barkov is out of place. He is not your best player. He's a great two-way player, but he doesn't have dog in him to take over a game. He doesn't have dog in him to raise everybody to the next level because he can't demand it because he's Mr. Nice Guy. He's too nice. There are some people that are, it's like Russell Wilson's too nice, but he will cut your heart out. Dwayne Wade is nice, but he will cut your heart out. Alexander Barkov is nice, and he'll serve you a slice of cake. I mean, it's just, no.
Everybody but the coach goes, right?
Right. No, I'm Quinville. I'm fine with Quinville.
Exactly.
I'm fine with Quinville.
Yep.
I would actually go to Quinville. Okay, who's got balls here for you? Because he knows. He's got to know by now. And have a GM come in and then kind of reshape the team and get some cojones, get some real leadership on this team, and guys Quinville can actually count on. But you cannot continue with Dale Talon.
Does Talon have a taxi? Kind of like our old coach. Remember that?
I don't know, but yeah, who got also fired again. Right, they got rid of him in Vegas. So it's just amazing. His run also was short there. Let's thank our super chatters, Dougie Fresh, Myron. Let's see. What's it called? Clee Torres, as always. Clee Torres. We got to love Clee Torres, always getting it done here. Weapons X United, kicking ass. Always giving us some love on the super chat. Super Boom Shack drops it, as always. The big Boom Shack. We love it. He's in the boom boom room. Every time I hear him say that he's in the boom boom room, I just think of boom, boom, boom. Let's go back to my room so we can do it all night and you can make me feel right. Oh, all right. Cookie Vice, Jesse in Minneapolis, Julius 305, Ian from Brooklyn, Ray Gurulong, all of you super chatters out there. Thank you all. Super chat.
Excuse me a sec. What are you babbling about?
Super chat.
If he
super chat.
We'll all
super chat.
It'll be anarchy. It's out of my hands.
There you go. It's out of your hands. It's out of my hands. It is Friday. The weekend is here. You have made it. Thank you all out there for tuning in as always. Thank you for keeping it locked here. Thank you for supporting us like you do every single day. We love you all out there for downloading, watching, super chatting, tweeting, emailing, Orlando at BigORadioshow.com, sending stories, everything. You guys are just amazing in the way you support us. We will see you on Monday. You guys all be good out there. Be safe. Go Marlins. Sweep the stinking mutts.
Have a good weekend.
Fire Dale Talon.
Yes. Gotta go.
Fire Talon's ass.